Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dynamic Duo. And today we'll be doing our usual stint. I'll talk about our topic in just a bit. But of course, with me, the Thor to my Mjolnir is Chopper Fett.
Do you think about those all week before you introduce me?
No, I just thought about it just now.
Very good. Very good.
I'm in the MCU thingy.
There you go. Hey, everyone. How are we doing this Friday evening? It's been another fun week of working, poopy diapers. So, how you doing, Fletch? How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. As always, it's work. Been a tough week though. Lots of meetings and stuff. But otherwise, okay, pretty good. Looking forward to this, of course. And today's topic is, what sort of destination rides do you go on?
And right? Do we prep for them?
And do we prep for them?
Yeah.
As well?
Nah.
No, we just get up in the morning, have our coffee, a couple of cigarettes, jump on the bike, and just go, right?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and we can get some shout outs going on. We have Mr. GRD on the side chat. Roland Keith's out there. Homebees, thanks for joining, guys. I'm not sure if it's just Mrs. Homebees or if her husband's there too, but if not, what's up, everybody?
Yeah, how's it going? I'm trying to sort something out here. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so basically, Brett, what's the longest ride you've been on?
Don't laugh.
No, I'm not gonna laugh.
I think the most miles I've ever clocked in a day, honestly, has been about 160, 170. I don't have the time right now for long distance, as you all know with my life. I have a 3-year-old and now a newborn, so I haven't had those opportunities, but we did have an opportunity last year, my wife and I,
right,
to go to the town of Weston, Missouri, which is where we were married at. It's like this small little hole in the wall kind of town that has like this Irish bar that's three stories down. It used to be like an old cellar type thing. And that's actually where we had our wedding reception. And so last year, it'd be before my wife got pregnant, we decided to ride up there. Mom and Dad watched little Dougie, and we rode the about 60 miles up there. Now, again, 60 miles is not anything huge. It took us about 2.5 hours because we took side roads, but yeah, that's been one of my favorite experiences. I have another one that I'll share with you guys in a little bit as well. That's with What's Up Bob, if he shows up here. That's one of my other favorite rides. But yeah, I think no matter what it would be, I think my favorite ride will definitely be the one that I'm doing it with someone else with. I mean, I love my solo rides, but having that extra person around to share that experience is something truly, truly awesome.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about destination rides is that I have a thing about anything more than like 5 bikes, because we have to think about coordination, right, and getting to your gas stations and stuff. And the gas stations are not just for us, it's for everybody else, right? And if you come in with a group of like 5 5 is about fine. If you're coming with anything above 5, 6, 7, or 10, then the last guy is going to be waiting to get his gas, and then we've already had our coffee and shit, and then then somebody's maybe itching to go, and then the guy's just getting off his bike. So it's tough, right? So those are the things that I'm a little bit concerned about: the number of riders and safety as well. Bigger groups, a bigger group would mean that we really would have to pay attention to the number of people if there's anything going on, and last but not least, what I think a lot of people don't realize, that if you're riding in a convoy of 10 bikes with your safety distance between, you're talking about maybe a mile or 2 of stretch of all these bikes. And if somebody needs to get off an exit and you're in their way, they're not going to be too happy, right.
Yeah, I mean, talking about group rides and everything, just this last think it's this last weekend.
Mhm.
Someone from the Kansas City motorcycle group on Facebook said, "Hey, we're having a ride. It's 120 miles." He showed me like the map layout and everything. It's like,
Right.
looks like a really solid ride. Like it looked like a lot of fun. But the problem was I didn't know any of the people, and I wasn't sure if they were crotch rockets, cruisers, what have you. And I don't care if they are crotch rockets or cruisers. It doesn't matter. But I don't want to get myself caught up with a bunch of people I don't know and trying to, I don't know, show off is the right word, but I don't want, I don't want to have to keep up with them, I guess you could say. I mean, I would definitely ride my own ride. And
Yeah.
so I would probably float towards the back anyway and let them just speed on. But yeah, I just I've never actually done the full on stranger group ride yet. And maybe one day I'll pop my cherry on that. But for now, it's just people I know.
Yeah, that's true. I think one of the reasons why I joined Hog was knowing well enough that these guys always are on group rides. If it's a short one, it's probably a big group of 30 guys and all that, which then you get a feel of what it's like to ride in a big group, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember when I first joined in the early 2000s, it was a big thing then. For every Harley-Davidson anniversary, I know they have a lot of stuff going on in the States, so we'll do something similar here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we'll ride to the next across the border and about, I don't know, 300-400 miles to the next place. It's called Rock to Rock. So we start off at the Singapore Hard Rock and end up at the next destination's Hard Rock, right? And the first time I joined, it was something like 150 bikes.
Ooh, wow.
That was insane, and then and I think they were just getting into it. The Hog was starting to pick up, so everybody wanted to be on it, so they didn't really
Sure.
organize it that well. And what happened was literally 150 bikes took off together, right? Then when we hit the first rest stop, my God, it took us 15 to 20 minutes to get everybody gassed up before
Yep.
we had to move off. And then there'll be people who'll be pissed waiting for so long and blah blah.
Yeah.
And they have to wait, so we lose about half an hour, 45 minutes at each gas stop just
Yeah.
waiting for people and stuff. So that's tough, right? So I
Yeah.
decided after that it's not going to be any more than 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Then it
But
becomes easy, right?
yeah, but also for some of those newer riders, though, I know, like I said, it annoyed you to have to wait, which it annoyed me too, because I just want to go. But for some of those people who uh, don't have the endurance, that 30
Yeah.
to 45 minutes of, all right, I got gas in, now I just got to wait for 30 minutes. It's probably a welcome relief for some people. And that's the problem with huge group rides. There's no control. It's like you have your leader, who's running things, and you either keep up or you drop out. It's basically your only choices, or slow way down and wait for them. But yeah, I don't know. I just not a group rider yet. Maybe someday. I just don't. There's no desire. I'd rather send it up and go with my friends and my parent, or my dad, my brother, my wife, and have fun communicating that way is what I feel like would be more ideal.
I feel you, man. I feel you, because at the end of the days, I've gone the reverse, right? I started off with big groups. Now I ride by myself. And at times when I can't get really that friends to go along, and I said, screw it, I just ride by myself. So I've been to Thailand by myself.
Nice.
Right? I've done 1,000 miles by myself. Right? I couldn't care less. I stop when I want to stop. I do what I want to do. I enjoy the ride. If I want to go fast, I do. If I don't want to, I don't.
Right.
I just take it easy, and that's the way it's supposed to be anyway. Right.
Right. I know last weekend, so instead of going on that big old group ride, I really realistically only had about an hour that I felt like I could get away. And obviously I'm not going to get 120 miles in an hour. I could have, and I'm sure I would have gotten, and yeah, it's okay, go ahead and go type thing. But I just took the hour and I went on a 30-mile ride by myself, and I stopped at my local coffee shop. Right. I sat down, had coffee, and had a cinnamon roll, and then I rode the rest of the way home. And it was like, I told my wife, like, I need this once a week, at least just 1 hour to get out. And
Yeah.
I know we're talking like long destination trips, but right now with a 2-month-old, 1 hour is my long destination trip.
I know,
And,
but sometimes we need the alone time, right?
yeah, but
those trips that you did you do any preparation for them?
Because we weren't, well, I guess for the Weston one we did, because we were staying overnight. So
Right.
we did our typical T clock checks. I think before
Right.
any major ride. I'll be honest, before just a couple little jaunts around town, I'm not the best about checking every single little thing.
Yeah,
I it, my garage doesn't get too hot or too cold. I know I'm not losing tire pressure, and I'll usually give them a good little kick and like, okay.
Yeah.
And I check them probably once a month, and they lose maybe a pound or two. So, but I should, but I don't. But before those rides, I definitely will check everything as well as I can. And then as far as prepping myself, back on that ride, we both had like over the shoulder. She had a little messenger bag that she put all of her stuff in, and I just had my backpack. Just because it was a single overnight, and it's amazing. You can travel on a Sportster and a Dyna with no bags, no saddlebags, no luggage rack.
Yep,
pretty easily. You just have a little bit of an extra backache from that stupid backpack lugging you down. But other than that, that's really all the prep that I will do outside of also mapping out the ride. Of course, I let that stew with me for about a week before we even actually put our kickstands up. Like, I know exactly without GPS where we're going. So
that's true. I think that's a good point that you brought up, the GPS, right? I mean, it's in this day, and in the old days for me, well, I say old days. Yeah, actually, it's true. The old days, it was the 90s when I started really going on long trips, and we only had maps, right? So literally every gas stop was put it on someone's car or on the floor, and we say, okay, this is where we're going, this is how long it's going to be, and stuff like that, right? But with the GPS, you just put your points of interest in it and just go, right?
Yeah.
But for me, for preparations, I'm pretty anal about this. I know that even though it's not necessary, I will still send it into the dealership to do a basic check and just change the oil. Even if it's not due, just change it. So I know I have fresh oil in the tins. Everything is working as it should be. I'm not sure in the States though, but I know here, when you tell them that you're going for a long ride, they will do the 11-point check and tighten everything that needs to be tightened, right? Because Harley's in vibration and everything gets gets shaken off. So they will tighten everything up, right? They know what parts that really is going to need a bit of care and attention. So they'll tighten everything up, do all the tests, and then let you know what needs to be done if it needs to be done, and then you're good to go.
Charge you a few $100s, like, thanks for the business.
Well. Yeah. But here's the thing: I here we have a package I could buy every time I need it, and even though I send it in for a simple oil change for a long ride, it's all part of it, so I don't pay anything anyway. I paid for it before, so it was well worth it to buy that thing, rather than giving $300 just to change oil and then do all those checks and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
but otherwise, that was the way to go. What about the trips that you've done? Have you faced any issues, struggles that you've had?
So the other major one that I went on, we went to a town called Topeka, Kansas.
Right.
About 70 miles west of here. Evil Knievel Museum's there.
Right.
And that was the first time that we experienced rain on the bikes.
Okay.
You could say that I mean it's Kansas, so you get every season all the time anyway. So obviously, if it looks like rain, I won't ride. There's no enjoyment for me to ride in the rain, I guess. But on that day, we had a 10% chance of rain, so we thought we should be safe. We'll ride if it's 50% or less. I mean,
Right.
50% or less, you're rolling the dice. So we thought 10% chance of rain won't be a problem. We hit a rainstorm on the way out there. We didn't even get 10 miles outside of town, and rainstorm, and we didn't prep for it. So, and not that we would have put on rain gear anyway, but you know, from the leg down, we were just soaked. And every time you press the brake, you just feel the squish, squish. And so of course, you know, we pulled over for a little bit because it got not dangerous. It picked up a lot, and so we hit a town. So we pulled over just to kind of let it pass and dry off a little bit. And it was cold that day too, on top of everything else. So it wasn't quite. I don't remember when it was, but it was definitely in the either fall or spring. I can't remember when it was now.
Right.
So it was chilly. And so, you know, we go on about our day. You know, we dry off on the rest of the ride, and everything's good. Once you know it, that damn storm circled back around, and we even took a different way home. So, like, let's take a different way home. We ran right back into that stupid storm. So we hit it twice on that day. So a 10% chance we hit it twice. Again, would I have packed rain gear if I knew? No. I mean, little pop-up shower, you're going to dry off pretty quick. But what about you? I'm assuming you have saddlebags, so I'm assuming you're always kind of prepped for something like that to happen.
Well, honestly, if I go for a long ride, I would put up. You know, I have the full suit, the FXRG.
Oh,
the whole thing. I bought it years ago. I know it was really expensive, but you know what I did was I waited for a sale. Or I waited for my birthday month, so I get 30% off, and then another extra 20%, so it's 50%, right? So whatever cost. So if it's 300, it's $150, right? So I wait for those things. So I bought it, and it's still pretty good. I've had it for about, or at least this one I have now is about a year and a half, and it's completely waterproof. Nice. So I don't pack rain gear. It's waterproof anyway, and my boots are also waterproof, head to toe, right? So I'm because the reason why we do that is because I'm in the tropics. It rains
every day,
goddamn time,
guys.
Right?
Let's put it this way, guys. Every day I ask Fletch if he's rode. He's like, no, goddamn rain. No, it's raining again. No.
Yeah, you know, I just did a ride, and I managed to get some video, so I'm gonna put that up next week. This is the first ride I actually had to do or could do. In fact, it was like I was chasing the storm. Right, it was a quick one, top up gas. It's about like maybe 5 to 10 miles, but at least it's a ride, right? But here in the tropics, it really is raining. It does get hot as well, but for whatever reason, and for us, the shortest ride I do is I don't think I've ever done a 150-mile ride. It's always a 300-mile ride. Okay. Always. So in 300 miles, you're going to hit something, right? Some kind of weather or storms or what have you. You know, and surprisingly in this region, you get rain, fog, and some hail as well. It gets cold enough,
all at the same time.
And once I actually went last year, my last ride for the year, I literally hit rain. Then it got so cold, it was hail. Then when I got up in the mountains, it was fog. So it's just, I was thinking, oh, shit. You know, it's like, can I get through all of this? And am I going to, I literally had to slow down. At some points, I had to stop, which is a question I'm going to ask you, though. I'm not sure about the states, and I can't remember on the highways. Here in Asia, or at least in Malaysia where we are, there are always stops on the highway with a rain shelter. Do you have those?
Not necessarily with a rain shelter. You know, you'd think we would see more of those out in Kansas, but I guess their thought process is a tornado is just going to wipe that out anyway. Why build something that's just going to get destroyed? Exactly. So usually what you'll see here in the Midwest anyway, and you know, people in the side chat, you know, wherever you're from, feel free to chime in as well. But I know I know here basically you look for either a town with a gas station, or you look for like an overpass bridge, basically, and you kind of just hang out and hide in there until everything passes over.
Okay, but I think when I
I
talk about
called it an overpass, home bees. I was getting to it. You got to let me get to it. Jeez. It's a bridge. It's an overpass. It's a bridge. It's still a bridge. My kid calls it a bridge, so it's got to be a bridge. So,
because what they do is like it's not really like a hut or something that they have on the side of the road, but it's literally a place they could get you off the highway a little bit, and there's shelter enough for all the motorcycles to go. Because again, a lot of Malaysians, it's the cheapest form of transport, and imagine going from state to state at 150 miles, 200 miles on a little 125cc bike, right? So it's big for them. So they have a lot of that, which is good, right? Great for us as well.
Yeah. Well, I think it makes more sense for a population who rides, like, you know, Malaysia, Singapore, you know, all those places where you actually do have quite a bit of a populace that rides on a daily basis.
Right.
Here, yeah, there are some people who ride on a daily basis, but it's their choice. Whereas, you know, other parts of the world, it's like, this is what we can afford. This is what we're going to do. We're going to ride our 125cc bike all over this country, basically. Yeah. So if you do have that much of a mass of people, you know, on bikes in a rainstorm, it makes sense to have shelters like that. But yeah, like I said, the motorcycle traffic, at least here in the Midwest, is light. I mean, you'll always see a couple guys, you know, giving the thumbs down or the thumbs up, or, you know, whatever. But it's never like congested full of motorcycles unless it's a, you know, crotch rocket group ride.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, I mean, to me, I think it's always just about the weather and preparing for the weather. There are times when, I mean, to me, is we should suit up anyway for safety, right? And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when you're on the highway, there's still a lot of junk on the highway, right? And then if there's a truck or a car or even the guy on the bike in front of you, is gonna flip up some junk into your face, right? Mm-hmm. And stones and shit. And if you're not suited up, you're just wearing a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, or some of these guys riding the vest, you know, and just wear their stupid kit, the vest, and I don't know how they can do it. I tried it once, I regretted it. I literally at the next stop suited up, you know, even though how hot it was.
Rain hurts, man.
I know, exactly. But even it was sunshine, and this is the reason why. I mean, it's really hot here. It gets really hot, and I know. I tried it once when it was like super hot, and we knew it's never going to rain, right? Just put on a t-shirt and then just go. And then after getting hit a couple of times by huge stones, forget it. I just stopped. The next stop, in fact, we had the communicator. I said, look, guys, fuck this. I'm going to stop and then suit up. Otherwise, forget it, you know.
I mean, you're talking stones here in good old Kansas. We have giant dragonflies that I ran into. I went on a ride a few weekends ago, and I was trying to record. I recorded hitting 6 different ones because each one made an audible loud scream from me. And I ended up cutting them all out of the video. It's like, no one wants to hear a grown guy, ah, ah. But I even slowed down the video, and you actually saw one go, true. And my head went backwards. Man. But yeah, I mean, between that and rocks and everything else, because we have a ton of construction trucks with, like, you know, that carry like the gravel and crap inside of them. So they say stay back 300 feet. I'm like, that's a football field. How am I supposed to stay back 300 feet? So that's when it's time to drop a gear and disappear, as they say, right?
True. I think the biggest struggle for me would be, well, I don't know if you can call it a struggle or not, but I think it's getting dehydrated and getting heat stroke, because here the temperature is getting really very high, and it's high humidity, so you sweat out, you lose a lot of fluids, So I think that is a big thing. It's not like I've happened before, right? And a lot of times it's because of stupidity. Even though I drink a lot of water along the way, but once we finally get to a destination, as always, we would hit the bar, right? Instead of
Right.
checking into the hotel and having a shower, and then
Right.
so we hit the bar and we drink, which is the worst thing to do, right? You get dehydrated really fast from the
Yep.
beers and what have you. And then the next thing you know is after your shower, without even cooling down, you're going out again.
Yep.
Right. And I've had minor heat strokes because of that. So
Yeah.
I've learned my lesson in a sense.
I don't think I ever gotten to the point of heat stroke. But I have, rode home dehydrated, like severe dehydration before, and it's as dangerous as riding inebriated. I'm assuming inebriated. I've never done that before, but I've been in an inebriated state, and it's just like I just remember once I got home and I was like, I don't remember the last 10 minutes. Like,
oh yeah, autopilot.
Yeah, it seriously was. I was like, I know my my instincts obviously aren't good at that point in time, so thank whoever that I made it home. But I'm like, yeah, drink more water, man. Drink more water. It's good stuff.
Exactly. So, what's your favorite place you've been to?
If not Weston, it's definitely it'd probably be Weston first. That one with my wife. The second one would be the Evil Knievel Museum. That was a good destination to go to. And then third, it was a day that Dad and I were trying to build up some endurance so that we could make it to my hometown about 3 hours, 4 hours away, and actually get there and be able to continue to ride instead of just getting there and staying at a hotel for 2 days and not do anything. So we went, it was probably 80 miles north of town, and just had lunch at this little hole in the wall restaurant type thing. But it's always going to be a memorable trip because that was the worst wind I've ever encountered in my life.
Wow.
I was actually scared riding back, and that was this year. That was in 2020. So it was so weird because I think it's because I was on an unfamiliar road on top of everything else. Right. And so when you're on that unfamiliar road, you don't know the turns that are coming up, and it's just, I think the wind was about 40 with 45 gusts is what we ended up running into. And of course, forecast was 10 to 15, so, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I know. Right. But no, it's a memorable thing. Now, I don't go on enough destinations to make, to have like a top 10 that I've been on, but those are the ones that I still remember in my brain anyway. All the trips to Harley, I couldn't tell you, but those three are the ones that kind of really stick out. And I'm probably forgetting one that I did with my wife, and she's going to probably kill me. So, yeah,
You're getting old, man.
I am, man.
No, we're all getting old.
Ty from Tennessee's favorite place is Chirohala Skyway. Oh, is that kind of close to like the Blue Ridge Skyway, Ty? Is it the same sort of thing? Or I think it might even be the same thing. Let's see how smart I am. I don't think I'm very smart though.
Yeah, let us know. For me, okay, I've been riding since long distance anyway. I've been riding for a long time, but when I started going long distance, strangely enough, was not in Asia, because I actually spent some time in Europe studying and stuff. So I bought myself an old BMW.
Nice.
And for me, my favorite place was literally riding from Switzerland to Italy, across the Autobahn, and getting to Italy and riding around this beautiful country, beautiful country. Then in Asia, I would say Thailand, because there's lots of mountains and interesting places to go and see. There's a rich history there, so you get to always see something new, and the mountains are unbelievably beautiful. So I think I would say that for Asia is Thailand, and every year I make that trip anyway. And of course, this year was supposed to be with Paul, but that never worked out because of this goddamn COVID bullshit.
They probably still got that boy on lockdown.
No, it's opening up in Thailand. The latest news is that the borders are going to be opening up. Right. So the moment they make an announcement at midnight on this day, the border's going to be up right there waiting.
Right.
Boy. Have you done any bike distance challenges? Or plan to?
I would like to do the iron butt at some point. I don't know if my back, at least in my current state, my back, I don't think can handle it. I carry too much on me, but I'm hoping once I lose a few pounds like I'm trying to do right now that I could get out there and spend the day, leave at like 2 a.m. and get back later that evening. And because Kansas is the best place to do an iron butt challenge because you can literally get up to I-70, which just goes east and west across the entire state. So I could go into Missouri or I could go into Colorado, but it's just a solid straight 4-lane highway. So you got your divided highway, so you can literally just set it at 70 and just cruise, and you can hit that 1,000 miles pretty quickly as long as your back didn't give out like mine probably would.
Yeah. But I think when you think about it, because to me 1,000 miles in a day, it would be tough, right? I've really never really done 1,000 miles in a day. Really,
I think it's a lot, man.
I would do like 700, and that would be my limit, and I'll stop for the night. That's it.
And that's about 1,000 kilometers, right?
That's 1,000 kilometers, right? So that it's literally from Singapore across 2 borders to Thailand, and then I stop, and then rest for the night, and then do the rest, right? Because from here to Phuket or another favorite, some other favorite destination in Thailand is roughly 1,000 miles. No way, right? I have done. You got the iron butt and you got a saddle saw. The saddle saw is the one before that. So 800.
800?
It's 800.
Wow.
So it's 200 shy. You imagine? And
just go the extra 200.
Yeah, but but the first thing was when my friends presented it to me, and we did a couple of dry runs, but like 500 or 600 in a day first, and then when they looked at the rules and saying, "Oh shit, we can't do the iron butt. That's 1,000 miles. So let's do something before that first. Let's not get too adventurous, right?" Then we pull out, we go to the website, we check, and said, "What the? It's 800 miles for the saddle saw." What? Okay, then we said, okay, fine, never mind. Let's plan our route. Let's plan our stuff. Let's just do it, right? And we did it in about 18 hours with stops and meals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And God,
I just want to hit the 200. I mean, I've come close to hitting the 200-mile mark on a single day.
Yeah,
but that's my next goal, and I don't know if I'll hit it this year just because we're getting to the end of the season, but maybe next spring. Actually, next spring, what I want to do is I want to be able to go visit my brother down in Oklahoma. It's about a 350 mile trip. Should be a good day trip, really, more than anything. Especially with taking enough stops. You ride for an hour, you're 20% of the way there, just riding for an hour type of thing. So I want to be able to do that. I would want to make sure I could do like 200 miles locally before I try 350 stranded in the middle of nowhere. Because again, it kind of goes back to the prep. I mean, even though we're talking about prepping for long journeys, I mean that's prep that I'll be doing well before even going on that trip. I mean, I'll have probably another oil change in between when I would actually go out and do that because I gotta get this in shape. Like, you know, we kind of were discussing a little bit before the chat. I'm trying to shed some of this, and it comes on so quick and it goes off so slow.
I know.
So slow.
It doesn't help that, you know, like people like me just sitting behind watching Netflix all the time and shit, you know, and then we're just munching on stuff. So that's not helping a lot. But you're right. I mean, preparation for the ride also is about preparing yourself mentally and physically, right? In my case, I didn't straight away go for the 800 in a day or whatever. I've been doing it for years anyway, and I worked my way up to that, right? When I started getting back to riding long distance in, I think, 2004, I stopped for a while because of my work and stuff. I couldn't get time off and stuff. So when I finally started going back again, so same thing, I did 150, 300, then pushed it to, but that's not like, you know, I'm not doing a kind of a race. What I did was like two trips at 150, do 2 trips at 300, do 2 trips at 700, and then finally start to push it to maybe about 800 miles in a day, and that's about the maximum, right? And I knew that again, it's about timing and make sure you're riding in the daytime and not at night and stuff like that. So I think that's 800 is just about right.
Sure. Right? I definitely want to do a challenge like that. Just kind of like, I feel like it'd be like a sense of accomplishment. Although, you know, if I was to do a 1,000-mile challenge, you know, in a year, that's like, for this year, it'd be probably about 40% of the total miles that I've ridden this year, just because, again, life. But you know, to do 1,000 miles in a day, I mean, that'd just be insane. I mean, like I said, I just want to do 200. Give me 200 so I can work my way up to 300. Exactly. We've had a lot of people coming into the side chat there. Mr. Fletch, Travis at My Done Life, he's here. Road Rash is now here. Mr. G 1965, how's it going? Ty from Tennessee, who not to promote other people's live streams, but he's going to be on Bodine's and Bronco Day Rider and HDR's live stream on Sunday. So make sure you guys go check him out there. Ty's doing good stuff. All these guys do great stuff. I mean, it's, you know, I've said it before. It's hard for even like a person like me to make a spot for myself, because there is a lot of good other content out there, and you guys are all killing it out there. So kudos to all you guys. So
yeah, man. Good work, my guys. I try to join you guys as much as I can. The last 2 weeks has been a bit tough, but I try my best, you know, as best as we can.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, like, you know, as a whole, people have seen my production go way down. Basically to one video a week is where I'm at right now. And now I'm kind of going through some, not personal things, but some channel, actually it's channel related, some redoing how I do the channel a little bit.
Right.
You know, and all those things, like you get frustrated and you get excited again, you get frustrated, you get excited again, type of thing. So, but yeah, I mean, if you guys just go check out these channels, they're all awesome people, and I think that's where the support in VC comes in too. Most, if not all, these people are part of that, and great group of people. I was listening to 5 Dirty Bikers podcasts, who I think kind of originated from a little bit. And, you know, they were talking about how support MVC, you don't have to even ride a motorcycle to support the motor vlogging or the motorcycle community. And hey, Road Rash, how you been, stranger?
What's going on, man?
Hey, and you've been riding quite a fair bit as well, right?
I ride every day.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
Harley, mind you.
Oh, okay. But you've been on some really nice trips, right?
In the summertime there, I did the island tour, as it were. That was just a 2-day event, but still, it was the first real long ride that I did on the Harley, and it was definitely I definitely want to ride more long trips, right? But I still have to prep the bike more for long rides. I need to definitely get a better seat than one that comes stock on that bike, because that's just that one just makes your ass go numb in 2 hours. 2, 3 hours.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah. I feel you, man.
And I definitely want to get a sissy bar so I can strap a bag to it, because I don't want to have a backpack on my back all the time, right? Because after a while, it does get a little heavy on the shoulder.
Doesn't that hurt after a while? I mean,
it does. Like, it wasn't so bad. You know, when I rode up the island, it wasn't so bad because I didn't have a lot of stuff in it. But when I stopped in the my buddy's place in Comox there, first thing I said to him, let's go to the beer store. Right? And he goes, oh, it's just one down the street. And I'm like, well, does it have my beer that I like, Bavaria? He goes, oh, probably not. We'll have to go to the other one. And sure enough, we go walk to the other one. If you guys know me and follow me on Instagram and me and my beers, I discovered that they had a bunch of beers in that beer store that I hadn't tried before. So I was like, I ended up dropping $60 in beers.
That makes for not only an expensive backpack, but a very heavy backpack.
Very heavy, yes. So needless to say, I ended up, how many beers? I think I brought 5 beers back with me the next day. And yeah, by the time I got to off the ferry and on the last leg home, my butt was done and my shoulders were done. I just couldn't wait to get home and get that backpack off and get off that seat and just sit down and relax. So yeah, I definitely want to get a sissy bar so that I can, put the heavier weight on the sissy bar instead of on my shoulders.
And those beers, they weren't little 12-ounce beers either. They were bigger, right?
Yeah, they're big beers, and they're all in glass bottles too, right? Mm-hmm. So, one of them was actually quite a large beer. So yeah, it was like a 750 ml, one of the beers. So, yeah, it gets heavy after a while.
But it's worth it, man. It's worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a fun trip, and I can't wait to do another one next summer, right? Being on graveyard shift, it just makes it really hard for me right now to get out of town. And and now that summer's done, it's fall now, right? We just hit the first day of fall here, so and
already
it's been nothing but rain. So
Jesus,
yeah,
2020 is gone, man. Shit.
Pretty much.
Thank God.
Let's get on with 2021 already, man. Let's just we'll sweep this one under the rug and kind of forget about it.
But what sort of destinations have you been on anyway, for yourself?
For myself?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to get up into the mountains because we have some beautiful mountains and some beautiful scenery here. Right. And I just went with the ride with the boys from work, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. I haven't put the video out. I've been slowly editing it. It's a long one, and I want to drop music to it. And it's quite scenic. It's called the Sea to Sky Highway. And it's the highway that leaves out of Vancouver and goes up to Whistler Mountain, where they had the 2010 Olympics, when we had the Olympics here in 2010. But it follows along the coast, and it's just, you got the ocean on one side and you got mountain on the other side, right? And it's just basically the mountains just grow right out of the ocean and just go right up beside you. So it's quite a scenic ride, and it's quite a twisty road. Not too twisty, but it's a very popular ride with a lot of bikes because you don't have to take a ferry to go anywhere, and it's within riding distance of the city. It's not too far out of the city. It's not a long ride, but it's still a very enjoyable ride, and it's very scenic, that's for sure. Especially when you're coming back from Squamish, because you're looking out over the ocean and stuff, and you can see the boats out there and the ferries coming in and stuff like that, and all the islands and whatnot. So yeah, it's quite a scenic ride coming back. Of course, I rode with a bunch of crotch rockets, right? Because all the guys from work got fast bikes, and I'm the only guy on a cruiser. So they're all gone dragging me through the corners while I'm trying to look for movies in those same corners, right? So, but yeah, it was a very nice ride. I enjoyed it. It was a fun ride. So that's a video coming in the future. I don't know. It's taken me a little longer than expected to edit that one, but I'm in no rush to edit that one. I'll get it out when it comes out. So.
Sweet.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to definitely do some more mountain rides that are more interior of the mountains, because we just got some beautiful scenery here that I would just love to show off to the rest of the world.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, to me, all the stuff that I've seen on your channel and the rides that you've done is so awesome, and I'm just jealous anyway of everybody.
Yeah. Well, I'm jealous of your weather too. So.
What, rain? No, man.
Don't worry, we get lots of rain here too. But at least your winter time's not like our winter time.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. This is winter for us now, raining every single day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But do you do any preparation for your rides?
Do I? No, I just get on the bike and go, because I haven't really done any long rides and I haven't done any moto camping yet. I'm hoping I can do all that next year. Next summer is going to, hopefully I can do as much of that as I possibly can.
Right.
I don't know if the borders will ever open up. You know, the way things are going right now, I'm thinking that the borders aren't going to open up for another year and a half, maybe 2 years. The way things are looking right now with this whole COVID crap. So you know, there's still
you don't want to come stateside anyway.
Yeah, there's, you know, I do want to come stateside eventually, because I'd love to ride the Pacific Coast Highway one day down to California. That's just, you know, I just hear that's a motorcycle mecca ride too as well, right? And I'd like to, you know, I'd love to go to California one day, but you know, I need to have a whole lot of money in my pocket before I can even think of doing something like that too, right? So but yeah, I don't really prep. I just kind of throw stuff in my backpack, swing my leg over the bike and hit that starter button, you know how they are on the Harleys there, and just click it in gear and let out that clutch and go, you know.
Clunk.
Yeah.
But have you faced any struggles that you may think you may have if you decide to go on a long ride?
Not that I'm aware of, because I don't have enough seat time of long rides, right?
Right.
The only my first long ride that I did when I first got the Harley, when I rode out to Hope and back, is like the number one tip that I could suggest is make sure you throw toilet paper in your backpack. So you never know when you have to go. Yeah, some shit tickets. So other than that, yeah, it's just make sure that you know, the only thing that I would say prep wise, make sure you've got lots of fluids with you if it's hot. For one, bring toilet paper, bring a change of clothes, just in case you hit rain, bring rain gear, bring some sort of snack, definitely bring a tire repair kit, because you never know, just a tire repair kit with some air, you know, small compressor or whatnot, and you know, and have as we call it BCAA or AAA down in the States, just have some sort of roadside assistance just in case you ever need it, right? Maybe a little extra bottle, because you know, Sporties have got small tanks, so have that little extra bottle of gasoline on you, you know, just in case you're really far from a gas station and you need to top up to make it to the gas station before you can fill up your tank again. So
that's a good, I mean, I feel you, because I used to ride a Sportster as well, and worse, I had a smaller tank, right? I was on a 48.
Yeah, and they got those little peanut tanks.
Yeah, it's like two something gallons, 2.1
gallons. 2.1, I believe, or 3.1. Yeah, 3.1, I believe it is.
So I always have a 1 gallon little tank that I'll put in my saddlebag. Make sure that I have enough petrol in case, you know, gas in case you hit something, and the gas station's closed, right? Then you're in trouble.
Well, see, luckily for us, where we are here, most of the places around here are 24-hour gas stations. Pretty much anywhere here, and they also you pay at the pump, right? So I'm thinking if the gas station is closed, you might be able to pay at the pump if it's a pay at the pump style of gas station. But mind you, I have not been far enough out of town to not see it any different. And anywhere that I've ridden on the bike, it's always been pretty much a 24-hour gas station, and you can pay at the pump. You just pull out your debit card and do your thing and fill up the tank and be on your way, right?
I know. But I think in my case, what happened was, when across the border from where we are, things start to get a little bit unreliable, and it's not because they're not 24 hours. They have to be. They're on the highway, right? The rest stops, but literally you pull in and all the pumps don't work.
Oh, geez, yeah.
That's the worst thing, right? And it's happened a couple of times. And if you're riding a small tank, that's really tough. So a lot of times, it's good to have, like you said, some spare gas in a can or something, right? You can buy those cans off Revzilla and all that, and it just keep it. It's airtight and it's safe and it's not going to spill over into your shit. Yeah. So you're pretty good, right?
Yeah, I definitely want to get one of those myself.
Yeah, they're pretty cheap as well. You know, so it's good to have. It really is. And even though I have a 17 liter tank, which is a 3.5 gallon tank, no, it's a 4 gallon tank on my Dyna, I would still carry one on a long distance because you never know. Right?
Yeah, exactly. You just never know.
you have friends that decide that okay, we want to push it to the limit of your especially if you're all big twins, and you're going to push it to the limit of your mileage or what have you, and then suddenly realize when you're choking on gas already and going in on fumes, and then when you get there, all the pumps don't work.
Yeah,
sucks.
Yeah, that's not something that you definitely want to come across for sure when you're out riding, especially in the middle of the night.
Have you? What's the longest? Maybe apologize if I didn't hear this, but what's the longest you've stretched your Sportster out on, like mileage wise, without between stops, like mileage wise?
Well, I haven't really stretched my my bike out too far yet, because the longest stint that I went. So when I rode up to the island the next day, when I left my buddy's place, I rode into town, did a little bit of touring around town. Then I stopped at the Chevron there and threw some 94 octane non-ethanol in the tank like I always do. Grabbed a burger and then rode out to the neighborhood that I grew up in and hung out there, went to the beach, blah, blah, blah. And then went back and went to the Air Force Base and took the ferry across, rode down, took another ferry and rode down. And I thought to myself, you know, you should probably, your gas light's probably going to come on when you get to such and such point. And the gas light never came on. So I was like, okay, gas light's not on. So I'm still good. I can keep going. So I kept going. And I got into a little town called Gibsons. And when I pulled into Gibsons, my gas light still hadn't come on yet. But I knew that from that point on, there was no way I was going to make it home because I knew how much gas I'd already used. So I'm going to top up. So I pulled in the Chevron again, like I always do. Threw some non-ethanol, 94 octane in there, and made my way to the ferry. Then made my way home. Nice. And the funny thing is I got home and then I went out for another ride the next day. I can't remember where it was, but I went for a bit of a rip. And by the time I pulled back into the yard on my bike, my gas light had come on. So
you know it works.
Yeah, I know my gas light works, but it's for some reason when I'm in town here and I'm riding, I'm a little heavier on the throttle than I am when I'm out and about. When I was out on that cruise, I would just get it up to speed and kick it in fifth gear or whatnot. And I would just cruise along and just, you know, I was in no rush. That was the biggest thing, is when I did that ride, I was in no rush and I wasn't heavy on the throttle. But when I'm here in the city, I'm really heavy on the throttle because I want to get through traffic and get away from traffic, from lights and stuff like that. So you know how it is. You just you get that little torquey engine between your legs, and it wants to get up and go, and you just crank that throttle. You just giggle all the way as you're shifting gears, right? So yeah. So yeah, I tend to burn a little more gas in the city than I do when I'm out on the cruise. So
that's normal, I think.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite place you've been to?
Oh, so far the island, because that was a bucket list trip that I wanted to do as soon as I got the bike, and I so wanted to do it this summer. Right. And it's kind of funny because I got put into graveyard shift because I got the bike, and then the next month it was nothing but rain. We had like, I can't remember how many days of rain, but it was just rain. Every weekend was always raining. And I was like, God damn it, can we just get a nice weekend? And then I had to switch over to graveyard shift. It was mandatory. And I was like, crap, now I'm on graveyard shift. And then we just happened to have a lull at work where I was able to get a Friday off. The weekend, the weather was going to be awesome. It was payday, and it was just, everything just worked in my favor. So I just took the trip. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm getting the hell out of town, loaded up and got the hell out of town. So that was the main trip that I really wanted to do, because it encompassed 2 rides that I wanted to do. One, go up the island, hang out with some friends, but I knew that I was able to take the ferry from that point back to the coast, to the mainland, and I could ride the Sunshine Coast Highway back into town. And the Sunshine Coast Highway was another highway that I wanted to ride, because it's like our tail of the dragon, essentially. Oh, nice. It's a nice twisty stretch of road that goes along the coast. And so I was just like, all right, killing 2 birds with 1 stone on the weekend. So it was perfect. It was the 2 rides that I really wanted to get done over summer before being able to, or being forced to go to graveyard shift, and I wasn't able to. But then it worked out in my favor that I was able to do that, and I was just like, perfect. So when I went to work, back to work, I was pretty happy, because the weeks prior to that, I was a grumpy, miserable old bastard at work. It's like, I was always getting pissy and everything, right? And then finally, I was able to do that ride. And then now, so now I don't care. I was able to do the ride that I kind of wanted to do this summer, and I was able to get it done and out of the way. So now I can just look forward to next summer once I get back on the day shift. And then I can go do moto camping, and I can start buying the stuff that I need for moto. I got the tent and everything. I just need the sissy bar. I need to get the cooking utensils for cooking out on the road and whatnot. And go moto camping and go hit the mountains, and maybe even ride to Alberta and, go see the people in Alberta that do moto vlogs like Scouts and, everybody else, Truckman and whoever else I can run into over there, right? So,
yeah, man.
But since we're on that topic, and, bucket list, right? What's on your bucket list for next year?
Pretty much whatever I can get, whatever I can ride to, right? Wherever I can go.
Or what would be the first destination then?
Geez. Be honest, I just want to get into the mountains. Bro, there's never I never have a destination per se when I go for rides. It's just kind of a spur of the moment thing for myself. It's like, oh, let's do this. Okay, throw the leg over the bike and fire it up and go, right? Like when I went to Hope, for instance, when I got the bike, it was just kind of I didn't even think I was going to ride all the way to Hope. I was like, oh, I should ride to Hope. And then I was like thinking, oh, I can get to this point, turn around, go home. And I got to that point. I was like, oh, I'm already here. Keep going. And I just kept going. And I made it out to Hope. And I'm glad I did make it all the way out to Hope, because that was a great ride too. So I got home after that ride. It was just a day ride. It wasn't a big ride, but it was still a nice, peaceful ride. It felt good to get out of town and get that ride done. So
that's true.
But yeah, there's a couple, we've got a couple loops, there's one's called the Duffy Lake Loop. You go up into the mountains, and then you head down a road that's called the Duffy Lake Road, and it brings you back to Pemberton and then into Whistler, and then you would ride the Sea to Sky Highway back into Vancouver, which is a pretty popular route for a lot of bikers. But there are quite a few mountain roads that are basic loops that guys like to do. I have a few buddies that do them all the time. We have a campsite. There's a campsite up there in the mountains that's free for bikers. But basically, Buddy's a biker, and he has his big yard, and he allows other bikers to camp there for free. And it's a real popular destination with a lot of bikers to go there and camp overnight, and then go do the loops and then ride back into the city, right? So I'm kind of hoping to do that next summer. And like I said, I'd like to ride out to Alberta if I can, but we'll see what goes. It's just one trip at a time, one step at a time, right?
Exactly. I think we were talking about it earlier. Would you consider doing a bike distance challenge?
Oh, I would eventually, once I get a new seat and maybe a new suspension for the bike. The suspension's not the greatest on that bike for sure. And the seat, especially that seat, that thing will make your butt go numb in no time. But yeah, it's I definitely want to do some bike distance challenges, man. If I could right now, well, it's too late in the year now, but like next season, it'd be really nice even just to ride across Canada, from one coast to the other. I've never been past Manitoba, and the last time I was in Manitoba, I was a kid. So it'd be kind of cool to get past there and go see the Great Lakes, and then ride, from there and go through Montreal and all the way out to Nova Scotia. It'd be pretty cool to see that, because there's a lot of history on the eastern seaboard of Canada, right? Because that's where it all started. My side of the country is relatively new compared to the other side of the country, right? That's
true. And how many miles are we talking about if you decide to go to that first
I don't know, until my ass says no more.
No more, get off.
Yeah.
Again, I feel you. I mean, to me, it's I would do at the very most about 150 to 200 miles before I need to get off, even with a comfortable seat.
I think I could probably go a little further, but it's hard to say, because once you stop to get gas, and being a smoker and blah, 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 you're going to stop to get gas. You're going to pull over after you fuel up, and you're going to want to have a break anyways, have some water, have a little snack, have a cigarette, blah, blah, blah. Check your Instagram, take some photos, whatever it may be before you want to swing your leg back over the bike and continue on. But that you're going to sit there and you're going to say, okay, let's go. It's time to go. Right? You say mentally to yourself, okay, it's time to go. Swing the leg over the bike. Let's go get on the road and start pounding out the miles again, right? Until your next gas stop or whatever it might be, till you get to your destination that you're trying to get to, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I feel you. It's the same thing, and the reason why I say 200 miles is about my limit is because that's it's equivalent to about an hour or 2 hours on the bike, and I'll be dying for a smoke, man. And that's probably the one reason I need to get off the bike before anything else. Not to mention, of course, your butt, right?
Yeah.
So your butt and your lungs need something, so you get off.
Yeah, it's like even driving a car. When you fuel up, you're still going to get out of the car and stretch your legs and grab a snack, some water, maybe go to the bathroom, whatever it might be, right? And before you jump back in the car and continue on with your road trip. It's the same as the bike, but that the bike it just seems like you have more freedom on the bike. You smell the smells, you feel the temperatures, the bugs hitting you in your face and whatnot, like you don't get in the car, all those joys of being in a car that you don't get, right?
Exactly right. And I think that's the reason why we're all on motorcycles, and me especially. I mean, I really hate driving for whatever reason. I've done similar distances and on a car, and I just feel like falling asleep because it's so boring. You got the aircon and you've got the music on, and you're all so comfortable. It's raining. You don't give a shit. So you just go on.
Exactly.
But it's boring, man. I would just. To me, the reason why I love to ride, and people think I'm insane. At one point I had to go to the next country for work, and my boss will always give me shit for riding instead of taking the plane. He said, "Listen, we're paying for it, why don't you just take a flight and fuck, I'm just gonna ride, forget about it." So I think that's the joy of riding and going stuff anywhere, and it's a good excuse anyway for me to ride.
Yeah, well, that's just it. That's why I love riding. It's just, there's just so much that people just don't understand. They're like, "Oh, riding's dangerous." Yeah, riding's dangerous. So is driving a car. So is walking down the road. So is going to the bathroom. Right? It's all dangerous. Is what we do. It's if you put yourself in a dangerous situation, then you're more likely to get yourself hurt. If you just take it easy, chill, not in a rush, you've got more time to react to other people's stupidity, right?
What's great is you'll be at a gas station and you get that person who comes up like, "Oh, my so and so died in a motorcycle crash."
Accident. Yeah.
That's just what I want to hear before I get going again, right?
Yeah, before riding again.
Yeah. All right, so I'll think about him for the next 30 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn it. Hey guys, in the side chat, if you wish, I've already put in the link. Please do come in. Let's have a chat. Tell us all about the distances and challenges that you had or done and had, and join in on this little chat that we have. I think it'd be great to be able to share experiences, because I know that there are a lot of guys out there that have done really long distances. They could share what your experience is, and maybe we can learn from it. Definitely learn from it. Not maybe.
Oh, definitely learn from it, because I have only been riding 3 years now, going on to 3 years, and I have not done any long riding. That was my first long ride that I did when I went to the island and back. And all my riding's been city riding, and I cannot wait to get out on the open road and get the heck out of town and go camping and do all these fun things that motorcycles allow you to do.
It's really hard to rack up the miles doing all the city riding, I've found out. So
it's
I rode for an hour and a half one day and I got 30 miles clocked. I'm like, oh. Yeah. I don't even know if I want to tell anyone like I rode for 30 miles. That's just seems kind of pathetic.
Exactly, because you spend more time sitting at a stoplight.
Yeah,
and that's why I get on the gas and burn through the gas a little quicker too. And that oil tank, as we all know, gets really warm under the butt sitting in stoplights. So.
Oh yeah.
Now, do you guys does Canada allow like a lane filtering or splitting up there at least?
No, we can't. Okay. No, there's no provinces that do. People still do it anyways. I've been known to do it myself. Basically the bottom line is don't get caught. Right.
There you go.
It's as it would be anywhere in the States. Only 2 states allow for lane filtering and lane splitting, right? So but yeah, but people are going to do it anyways. You look at that guy from Brooklyn there. Oh, I can't remember his name now. DK Low, he calls himself all the time, but he does all kinds of
FX Brooklyn. Yep.
Yeah. So he does a lot of lane filtering and stuff in Brooklyn, but it's not legal there either, right? So it's if the police see him do it, are they going to give him a ticket for it or what? Like for here, if you get caught doing it, you're going to get a ticket for what they'll call stunting, right?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they'll call it. Yes, it'll be labeled under stunting, but it's also it could be the police. He can either give you a warning or give you a ticket, right? One or the other, or he can just look the other way if he's a motorcycle rider and understands what it means to keep an air-cooled engine cool, right? So, and it also depends if it's a super dangerous situation, I would think, but if they do give you a ticket, it's going to be a stunting ticket.
Yeah. So here's a situation for both of you. You're out on a interstate highway, just 2 lanes on each side, but you're coming to a complete standstill because of a accident that's maybe a mile down the road. Are you filtering through to try and get around it, or are you being a good little piggy and waiting your turn?
You're gonna have both sides of that. You're gonna have guys that are gonna ride down the shoulder and keep going, and you can have guys that are going to sit in the traffic and wait it out. Being that if I'm on my Suzuki, for instance, that it's a liquid cool little 250, I'll sit in the traffic. If I'm on my Harley and it's hot out, I'll be on the shoulder riding. I'll take the ticket.
Nice.
Right? 'Cause I'd rather be doing that than having a bike that's going to overheat on me and shut down on me. Because as we all know, anybody who owns a Harley, those things get hot when they're not getting air over those fans, right? So,
if you think about it, sitting in a traffic like that, though, is actually could be pretty dangerous depending on how much is behind you. Because, if it's at like a complete stop type thing and you get that chain reaction going, the cars, most of those people they're going to survive most likely. If you're pancakes between a semi and the car in front of you, when you easily could have just gone and meandered down the road, but then you're hated by every single one of those people in those cars as they see you drive by.
If you're driving by and you're not doing ludicrous speed, let's say speed limit on the shoulder. So let's say the speed limit's let's say it's 80 kilometers an hour, which is roughly 50 miles an hour. So traffic sitting still, let's say maybe doing 10 miles an hour at best, and you're going by at 50 miles an hour. Yeah, people might door you, try to get you off. You still might get a stunting ticket or whatnot. If you say traffic is doing 10 kilometers or 10 miles an hour and it's stop and go, and you're going by, let's say 15 miles an hour, and you're just slowly working your way past the traffic, and a cop was to see you, he may or just let you go or whatnot, because some cops are smart and understand, but some especially older cops that have been around for a while and maybe riding, they understand, but it's just the younger ones that are trying to prove themselves that are going to pull you over and slap you with all kinds of tickets and this and that. And especially if they're in a miserable mood, then they're guaranteed going to slap you with a ticket. If they're in a good mood, they just might tell you, hey, don't do that, slap you on the wrist and say, well, I'm trying to keep my motor cool because it's an air-cooled engine. And if you understand what that means, you might just
You'll get like an Indian guy. He's like, "Oh, you bought the wrong motorcycle here."
Exactly
or
right.
some guy or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Some metric lever, and you're on a Harley, and they're a total Harley hater, right?
In my case, it's a little bit different because lane splitting is legal, or kind of. They don't. There's nothing written anywhere that says that it's illegal, but they don't give you a ticket for it. So if it's city riding in a jam, everybody lane splits.
Yeah.
On the highways, we never get into a situation where all lanes come to a full stop, because we're sometimes a 4 or 5 lane highway in Singapore anyway.
Yeah.
Right. But once you get across the border, their highways is a little bit different. In Malaysia, the road shoulder actually is a motorcycle lane.
Oh, wow.
So they call it a motorcycle lane because the guys on the 125cc's traveling between states is never going to do anything more than 100 or less than 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
They can't achieve that over long distances over a long period of time. So they know that these guys are going to ride on the shoulder. So they actually designate that as a motorcycle lane. So what happens is that if we do hit a situation where there's an accident and everything comes to full stop, we're the only ones allowed to ride on the shoulder. So then it's fine. Nobody's going to say anything. No cops going to stop us. No car's going to do shit to us because they know well enough that's a motorcycle lane.
See, I wish they had that here too, but the problem is the shoulder is where broke down cars are supposed to pull over to in case you broke down on the side of the highway. So that's where they're going to say, well, it's dangerous riding. Well, how is it dangerous riding when I'm not going that fast and I'm in total control? You know, I'm only going this much, like 10% faster than what the traffic's doing, right? So you can fight it, but we're here in Canada, well, in BC anyways, we've been really trying to push for a lot of lane filtering. Not so much lane splitting, but lane filtering when it comes to red lights and stuff like that, right?
I think there's a good spot for filtering, and I have no problem with filtering. I think it's actually a really good thing because 99% of the time, even if we're going slow, we're going to take off faster than all the other cars are. I mean, it's just
that's just it's a given, right?
Yeah. So, but what makes it what paints a bad picture for us is in California, though, where they are allowed to lane split like on the highway. But when you see the people of them doing it, they're doing it like 65, 70, but that's not what the intention of it was for. The intention of it was supposed to be, if it was going at 30 to 35, you could go around that same speed. It's not meant to be going at ludicrous speed. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what people is that okay? If the traffic, let's say, is doing 60 miles an hour, you're only supposed to do like the 5% above the speed limit, I believe, or something like that, 5-10% above the speed limit. So if the traffic's doing 65, or even let's just say 45, it's crawling, you're only supposed to be able to do 55 max while you're splitting traffic. Right? My understanding, kind of thing.
Yeah, and
but guys are doing
what happens
almost.
Yeah, but that's what paints big. Because a lot of people don't realize the difference between splitting and filtering. Yeah. And so they just think of California as this, reckless area. And my apologies to anyone from California. I'm sure you're not the person I'm talking about. But, when people bring it up for discussion, it's like, oh, that looks dangerous. I would never do that. It's like, you do realize lane filtering is me going through cars at a stoplight about 5 to 10 miles per hour just so I don't hit their mirrors. I just want to get to the front of the line. That's all I'm trying to do.
Exactly.
But yeah. Motorcycle lane, not bicycle lane.
No. Yeah. But that being said, if the one place that I've been to that has a motorcycle lane and a bicycle lane is Taiwan, because there are more scooters and motorcycles on the road and bicycles on the road than there are cars.
Yeah, because it's cheaper.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And scooters are the big thing there. So are motorcycles, small ones anyway. So I was very surprised when I was there for the first time, and to see that the road was divided into literally 4 lanes, right? You have 2 lanes for the cars, then you have 1 lane for the motorcycles and another lane for the bicycles, which is great. Right? I think it's very safe that way. So everybody keeps to their lane. Everybody's fine. Nobody gets killed.
Holy shit. I'm just looking at, I'm looking where you live right now there, Fletch. I didn't realize your country was that small.
75.
When you say no, I'm just going to Malaysia, and I'm thinking Malaysia it's a pretty big island, but I didn't realize Singapore was such a tiny little island on the south tip of Malaysia. Wow.
That's your challenge, Fletch. You have to do an iron butt challenge without leaving Singapore.
16 laps around the island.
If you look at that at the map, or you do a Wikipedia or something, they will tell you it's 74 kilometers by 45 kilometers. That is the extent of it. Singapore can go into anybody's lake. Imagine we just dropped Singapore there. So if I decided to do a saddle saw, don't even talk about iron butt, and being in Singapore, which is a weird challenge anyway, I'll be on my bike for 3 days without getting off or something, and no sleep for 3 days to get that 1,000 miles.
Wow.
Then you get done and you're like, Sorry, man, you gotta get this done 24. Oh, son of a bitch.
Exactly. Right. So that's insane. And Malaysia, at least from end to end, is about 1,000 miles. So it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Right. So there's some distance there. So those people living there, when they go state to state, they average about 150 to 200 miles between states. So that's normal for them. So that's fine. And they travel for work and what have you. Right. So that's kind of interesting. But Singapore, to me, is like now we're in a lockdown. All borders are closed. Man, I'm running out of road to ride, man. I'm just sick of riding around Singapore because in 45 minutes, I'm done. I've been through end to end to Singapore. That's it. It's not like we could just get out.
Yeah, I can see why you want to get the hell out of town, open the borders, and you can't get into Malaysia that easily.
Yeah, and Thailand as well. I mean, but
how long does it take you to ride up to Thailand?
It's about
I have to get to Bangkok. How long will it take you to get to Bangkok?
Oh fuck, it's going to take me about 2 days plus to get there.
Not too bad.
Right, it's because Bangkok's much further up, so we're talking about maybe about in miles now. We're talking about 1,300 miles easy. There's no way
Jakarta. Is Jakarta part of Malaysia?
No, it's a separate island.
Okay, yeah, but is it still like part of Malaysia? Like
no, it's Indonesia.
Oh, Indonesia. Okay, yeah, okay, it's Indonesian islands. Okay,
yeah. So where I am, you have Malaysia, Indonesia.
Yeah,
and then by land, then it's up to Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia.
Yeah.
Right. So look, I've ridden close to the border of Vietnam before, but it's just that on a Harley, it's insane to ride in Vietnam because I think after the border, it's not roads anymore; it's just potholes and shit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That'd be insane. You need an adventure bike to be in Vietnam.
Yeah,
even though I've had friends tell me that they've done new highways and stuff, but that's few and far between, right? So in between that, you're trying to ride your Harley in shit roads, or not even roads. You can't even call it a road. That's insane, man.
Yeah, I know. Back in the day when the main three were on Top Gear, I think they did a special where, they actually rented bikes for the Vietnam ride, and. It was a really good series. It's like about an hour long if you can find it to watch. But the beauty of Vietnam is just unreal. I mean, some of the landscapes that you would see, you would not see anywhere else on the earth. It's gorgeous. And I don't know enough about U.S. and Vietnam relations. Whether they see me and like, well, what's this guy doing here, type of thing. But I would like it to be a bucket list type thing, but would I ever go? I don't know. I
mean, it's changed since Apocalypse Now. Okay?
Oh, a little bit, I'm sure.
Right, because that's the 70s, and that's what that's the Vietnam War and all that. It's changed a lot, right? Right now, it's all the major cities in Vietnam is modern. When you go there, you think you're in the States already again.
Yeah,
that's how modern they are.
Yeah.
Even though officially they're a communist country, they're actually just capitalists or what have you. They're still into money and business and everything else. So just like what China is trying to be, right? So I mean, I've been there a couple of times by flight, not riding up there, and it's a beautiful country. The city is a city, right? But we always end up going off the country, and it's really beautiful there. And again, a lot of history, right? Because of the war and because of everything else, is a hell of a lot. If you ever do go, and anybody in the side chat, if you ever do go to Vietnam, you need to go to a place called the Q Bar. The Q Bar is history in itself because that's in the middle of the old Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City. Yeah, and that bar used to be where like a major headquarters for the Communist Party. So they had underground tunnels and everything else. So you literally go upstairs, go into the bar, you sit down there, have your beer, play pool, play darts, and then after that, take a tour if you want. Then go into the tunnels, but you don't have to crawl. It's walking height. Imagine how big they are, right? And then you get it at the end of the tunnel, and you come out to daylight. It's a shooting range. Then they hand you an AK-47 and you just go have a go.
Nice.
Nice.
Sounds like a good day.
That's so cool. You're all off your face and you had like 6 or 8 whiskeys, and then now you have an AK-47. Let's rock, you know. That's just so crazy. They kind of, oh my god, there's a shooting range. Oh my god, that's an AK-47. Yeah, rock. You know,
sounds like a future video.
I know. Yeah. So it's really interesting, and that's funny part of that part of the world, right? Singapore, Malaysia, we're anti-guns and we have gun laws.
Yeah.
Right. So nobody can own a gun here in Singapore or in Malaysia. But once you cross the border to Thailand, there's even one town like the Wild Wild West that people walking around with guns and rifles and shit, because it's fine. They can own a gun there, right? And the same with Vietnam. So it's funny to be able to go to a market and this guy's selling peanuts, and then right next to it, this guy's selling guns, right? And then you can go to a range. So it's not unusual for us to when we hit Thailand and Vietnam, we always end up in a range anyway. So you literally could choose the guns. But the Q-Bar, right? The Q-Bar is an excellent place. There's a lot of history there. They will actually tell you there's a lot of stuff on the walls and everything else. And then, of course, the highlight is going through the tunnels and then ending up unloading a clip from an AK-47 into a range. You know, that's awesome, man. Especially cool. After about like 10 whiskeys or something. You know? That's just
I don't know if I'm walking at all after 10 whiskey, but
they give you
let alone gun safety.
they give you but no, but they're pretty good about it. The guy will stand right behind you and kind of guide you, because you know we all fucked off our face, right? So he's gonna guide. He's gonna, even in Thailand as well, you go to a range, there's always a safety guy there, right? They know that you're gonna go off and something they're gonna guide you and make sure that everything's there. They're pretty safe about it, but it's really great fun. And places to visit. So, you know, love to go there on a bike though. You know, I've been there.
I'm just kind of on Google Maps right now. I'm kind of in Ho Chi Minh City here, just kind of clicking around, and it does look pretty modern. Holy moly, there sure are a lot of scooters. Yeah, there's just from what I'm seeing here, it's just like there's more scooters than there are cars, and they're scooters. They're not, you know, like they're like an e-bike only with a gas-powered engine on them, right?
Yep. No, they're scooters. They really are scooters, and that's a big thing about Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, that part of the world. Scooters is a big thing, but here's the thing. In Thailand, you still have a highway code, right? Malaysia, Singapore for sure. They follow the rules. So when you get to that country, you kind of know that whatever you do in your country is going to work over there because everybody follows the rules.
Yeah.
Cross the border to Vietnam, forget it. Throw the book out the window, because you have to then stand there for about an hour to understand what's going on, right? I remember for us, right, if we see a pedestrian crossing, we would stop, right? If people are trying to cross the road.
Yeah.
Right? I think they just paint the shit on the road for the fun of it in Vietnam. because there'll be people that are trying to cross the road on the goddamn pedestrian crossing, and everybody's zipping past you, you know. So it's like you're playing chicken with all these people.
Yeah, it's like a game of Frogger back in the day.
Exactly. And then and it's the same for you on the scooter, right? Because I made the mistake of renting one out because I thought, forget about it. Let's experience in the city with a little scooter, right? After about 10 minutes, I did a U-turn and gave it back because I thought I was just gonna die. Because they're just weird, right? You're at traffic light. There's a traffic light, but people are still going.
Yep.
And they're going. Some people are going against traffic, and so you just don't know what's going on. And I just didn't want to die. So I thought
some of these people are just wearing bicycle helmets on their scooters.
Oh, none at all. Right? Those are the good ones with the helmet, with the bicycle helmets. I mean, they're riding around with it's just crazy.
Well, most that I've seen so far have got helmets on, but there's a couple here I'm looking at. People who look like they just got your bicycle helmet on.
Well, yeah, I know, but they don't. The laws there in terms of helmet laws and everything else, it's how much you're willing to pay the cop, right?
Nice.
Really corrupted, So anyway, so that's the thing. But it's interesting to be able to go out to.
See, this is what I'm looking at here.
Right.
It's just nothing but scooters.
I can share this. How the hell this can't? Yeah. Yeah. It's You find that in Asia, this is the only mode of transportation. It's only the rich people that can afford the cars.
Yeah, that
know,
guy's
and-
riding a little Honda. See, the
Yeah,
funny thing is the guy that's doing the Google thing, he's on a scooter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that a monkey bike that was just there?
Looks
Where?
like.
That little Honda that was right there, is that a little monkey bike?
No, that's the Honda
No.
right there. I believe that's it there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're all basically like little 125s.
Yep. Or 50, or even 50 cc.
CC, yeah.
Because that's.
I mean,
just
look,
the
I mean,
way-
traffic's not going that fast. You don't need a big power motorcycle to.
No, that's just it, right? And once again, as we all know, them hot Harleys under our ass, man. I'd rather be on something like this in the city and in a hot Harley. But mind you, the Harley would be nice too, but it doesn't look like you get too far with all the scooters in the way.
Oh no, yeah, no. The traffic there is really very bad, and I wouldn't even suggest getting on.
Like, look at all the
Harley or anything.
scooters sitting right here. My
Yep.
goodness. Look at this.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Look
But
at
the Google moped's making its way through it.
Yeah.
that. Look
But
at
yeah,
that.
no, that's pretty cool. That it's like that there, right?
Right, and they lane split, right? So
Well,
it's normal.
you have to, obviously, right?
You have to. So it's well, I don't know. To me, there's certain places I just will not ride. Thailand is still pretty safe, but not Vietnam. I'll just get killed because I don't understand the way they drive. So that alone will probably kill me. But otherwise, it's fun. Hey guys, I put in the link in the chat. Feel free to come in. Tell us about your adventures. The topic for today is about destination rides, and do you prep for it and stuff like that.
Yes,
come
jump in
and share.
because I'm actually going to bail out here for a bit. I have to go to the store. I need to top up on my beer for tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
And I need to go get something to eat because I'm actually getting kind of hungry here. It's like 7:30 my time right now, so PM. So,
Well, man, we appreciate you coming on, Road Rash. Thanks
well,
so much.
if you guys are still
Thanks for
on,
coming, man.
yeah, well, if you guys are still on when I get back, I'll jump in again and help continue the conversation for sure. But
Cool.
yes,
Yeah.
other people, there's lots of people here in the side chat. Jump on in, guys, and join in the fun and tell us your stories of your rides and how you prepare for them long rides. I kind of wouldn't mind hearing some other things myself because I like to learn these things. So when I get ready for my next long ride, I'm prepared and got all the right tools and essentials on my bike for when I leave, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Very important, man.
But anyways, boys, I
Yep.
shall
Enjoy-
be back later. And
Enjoy your dinner, man.
I'm thinking KFC, McDonald's. I have no idea. I'm going to get on the motorcycle. I'm going to go ride to the mall. I'm going to hit the food court. I'm going to sit there and scratch my helmet for a while I'm looking around at all the different places. And then I'm going to pick one, and that's the one I'm going to go with.
That's
All right,
awesome, man.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.
All right,
Later,
see you
man.
later, man.
All right, bye.
Take care.
That is Road Rash HD, everybody.
Yep. So again, guys, come on, jump in.
Looks like
decide-
Sinister's I jump in here in a second.
Yeah, come on in.
Sinister just got back from a little bit of a I don't know where he's from, but I think he went on a little bit of a trip, so he might have some good stories for us here.
That's nice. Yep.
Bum, 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 bum.
And that's the topic anyway. So while waiting for people to join in, I was just talking to Brett earlier, and I don't know if you saw the news on I put out on Instagram or on my Facebook page. Harley-Davidson is selling or pulling out of the Indian market, so that's pretty interesting. Already they're talking about getting rid of certain models. And now, because of that, the implication would be the street 750 and 500s will be gone.
Yeah. Well, I think I read. They didn't say what models they were, but I think I read something in addition to the 3 that they've already announced, like so the FXDR, Breakout, and
Softail Slim or something, right?
no, it's
No.
one of the Heritage class. No.
One of them.
One of the heritages is going away. I guess there's been an announcement that like 6 more are going away. So I mean, they had 33 motorcycles, 6 going away. I mean, that's what, 20% reduction in bikes or so, more or less. I know my math's not great, but that's significant. Right. Now, granted, if they get rid of the Street 500, the 750, and I'm not sure if they have another street model or that, the American market's not going to care. But
hey, Sinister, how's it going, man?
What are you drinking?
Good. How are you?
What are you drinking there?
Oh, Dos Equis.
Dos Equis, nice.
Oh yeah. So tell us about good. We're all good, man. Tell us a little bit about the rides you've been on. I'm sure you've been on quite a few. I think I remember catching some of your videos.
Hang on a second. I'm getting a lag for some reason.
Oh, okay.
I think I remember catching some.
Do you have YouTube running?
Hang on a second.
No worries. I think it's because you have YouTube on, or you're watching from YouTube rather than StreamYard.
Is that better?
I mean, we hear you fine. There's stuff in the background, but can you hear us? Lag.
No, I don't have anything.
Are you on the StreamYard or are you on YouTube right now?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, there's definitely a lag.
Yeah, really. I think it's probably because you're watching us through YouTube rather than StreamYard, and he's gone. Okay, he'll probably come back.
All right.
Anyway, yeah. So we were saying, what were you saying, Brett?
Indian market, pulling and discontinuing Harleys and all that fun stuff. So
there you go. How's it better now?
Yeah, that's it.
There he's got it.
Awesome. Awesome. So what sort of destinations rides have you been on? I mean, we've been watching some of your videos in your channel, and I know you've been to some places as well, right?
Yeah, I try to do 2 long distance trips a year. Mm-hmm. So recently I went out to Arkansas. So I live in Kentucky. So it took me around 630 miles to get out to Harrison, Arkansas.
Nice.
And so while I was out there, I met up with a couple of moto vloggers. Obviously, there's a bunch, actually more out there than I realized. But I got to meet up with Mike with Riding in the Ozarks and Dan with Ozark HD Riders. I reached out to others, but people work, right?
Yeah, that's true.
They can't always. Dan's retired, so he can do whatever whenever he wants. And then Mike went on vacation. That's the only reason I was able to meet him. So
I saw those videos.
Just busy, So,
yeah, no, sure.
But yeah, I had a good trip. It didn't start out so good. I had an accident the first day. I got rear-ended.
Oh, geez, man.
Yeah, that was on the interstate in construction. Yeah, it was like, I don't know. It was probably about 7 a.m. in the morning, so it was still like pitch dark.
Right.
And so what happened was I'm on the interstate around Louisville, Kentucky, and the 2 lanes are going down to 1. The cones are up, and there's this person in front of me. So I look to the left to get over.
Right.
And they're real slow about getting over. One of those people who wait till the cones are like right there, and they're like, I gotta get over. And I'm like, oh my God. So I don't know what this lady's doing, and it's kind of freaking me out. And I'm like, I only got 1 lane, and there's this other concrete barrier, and I'm like, don't have many options. And so I got in the lane. I made sure nobody was coming, and then all of a sudden, somebody comes up on my rear end like flying. And I hear, and I look back and I brace for impact. And this dude was trying to stop, and I'm still rolling, right?
Yeah.
And so the fact that I was rolling helped out. And so he couldn't have hit me at a better spot if he's going to hit me. And I didn't go down. I was able to control the bike. It went squirrely. Okay. But if he had hit me anywhere else, I definitely would have went down. So it only damaged the rear fender and that bar light on the back of my street line. It basically pushed the bar light on the left side of the bar light, and it pushed it into the rear fender. So I pulled over, and it's pitch dark, and the only thing I got to use is my phone light, and he's breaking out his phone light, and he's like, I don't really see any damage. I'm like, dude, it's dark. Like, I mean, you can't.
I'm out.
Damage right now, and so I looked at it, and I just wanted to make sure I could actually still ride the bike, and it didn't dent it tremendously, and it didn't. And I got all his information. I was like, dude, I'm on vacation. I'm not going to let this run my vacation. Just give me all your information, insurance and stuff like that, and gave me his phone number and stuff like that. So once it became daylight, I'd stopped and got some breakfast, and I saw the damage, and I called him. I was like, here's the damage. I was like, I'm willing to get like an estimate of the parts that I know that it will be. And I'm more than willing to do the labor, so you don't have to do a claim on your insurance. I'll be nice about it, even though you could possibly have killed me.
Exactly.
And I said, but I like working on my bike. I was like, the labor will kill you if I let Harley do it, and I don't really want them to do it. I'd rather do it myself. So I had to order a new rear fender and a bar light. But that, if you order anything that's painted, it can take 30 to 90 days.
They're delayed right now, big time.
Yeah, that's what they told me. So I might not get it until December, into December, maybe into January. Who knows? But yeah, that was scary. It was a little shell shocked. I was a little on edge and a little anxiety after that. But I got past it after I got to Arkansas and kind of got relaxed. And this was like my second time being out there. I went 3 years ago. But and usually when I ride, I like to tent camp. So I moto camp, but also check the temperature. And plus I like going somewhere where there's mountains. And so, I stayed in Arkansas because that's where the highest peak of the Ozark Mountains is, even though most of it is in Missouri. I mean, it covers 4 states, but the majority of the mountains is Arkansas, Missouri. But it seems like a lot of people in Missouri go to Arkansas to ride because there's a lot of great riding there. That's why. So, but as far as like prepping for it, I would say for me, is, I like to, like I said, I tent camp. So I prep for all the tent camp. I have like a list, a checklist I go through of stuff that I need or may not need. I always check weather, what kind of weather gear am I going to need? And sometimes out there, you'll get up in the mountains. Obviously, that temperature is going to drop. So I've always got jackets and like a base layer, weather base layer, stuff like that. Bring some wool socks or something. But it was not too bad every night. Honestly, the last night I was there, Friday, it got down to 47. And that was the coldest it's been. Yeah, so I had to kind of ride in that the next day because I was coming back home on Saturday. So I didn't really need any coffee because after I got off the bike, I'm like, oh my gosh. So I had heated grips. So I was like, that helps. And but yeah, I mean, I loved it. I made so many videos, still trying to edit them all. I've only put 2 out there right now. I'm start to finishing up on 1. But yeah, like I said, I met a couple moto vloggers. There's a brochure that I mentioned in my first video where it has 9 rides. So that area tries to bring in motorcyclists. That's why they create that brochure, and the brochure is super nice. It gives you information on all 9 routes and places you can stay, places to eat. It talks about bike rallies, like this week was supposed to be no, that was last week. Okay. Yeah. This week was supposed to be, or no, wait a minute. I can't remember if it was this week. It's the Bikers Blues and Barbecue.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Typically out in Fayetteville, where University of Arkansas is. So it's a good sized town, mainly because of the college and stuff. But that's usually they cancel it because of all that's going on.
Yeah.
So they kind of sort of put it on again in Eureka Springs. That's where a bunch of motor vloggers went out there because they like Mike and Dan, they try to get me to stay, and I'm like, man, I can't. I gotta go back to work. And then like I know the Honorary one was going to go out there.
Yep.
Sandoval was going to be there. Glide, Arkansas was going to be there, and I can't remember else, but there was a good amount of motor vloggers going to be there at that one.
Yeah, there's definitely a good conglomeration in that southern Missouri, northern Arkansas little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I just realized today Holler Moto is in Missouri. I did not realize that.
He's like 30 miles north of me. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Kansas City. So we keep saying we'll ride together sometime, but our schedules never line up. So
yeah,
I don't know if I can keep up with that guy anyway. That dude hauls.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and so you met a couple other motor vloggers, and I know in addition we had Ty from Tennessee. He was in our side chat earlier, so
yeah,
probably rode through his homes, Kentucky. Yeah, you would have rode through Tennessee a little bit, right?
No, but the thing is like where I live now is actually not where I actually grew up, obviously, which how most people are. But I actually grew up near the Tennessee state line. So all those areas that he rides in, I'm completely familiar with them because I've been in road there. So I actually reached out to him today because I gave him a shout out in our last video because Mike and Dan were talking about wanting to go to Tennessee because they never rode Tele the Dragon. I was like, oh, well, we go out there, we can meet a bunch of people because I know Ty's there, and I actually mentioned that to him. He's like, yeah, let's do it, and and probably could get someone like Blue Bike and Doyle to come up.
Yeah, he's down in Georgia, but he's made that trip a couple times.
Yeah, he just when I went out to Arkansas, he was going to Virginia to meet Mr. G 1965. Yeah. So he was riding through Kentucky, and because he had mentioned if anybody wanted to meet up, and I reached out to him. I was like, "No, man." I was like, "I'm sorry, but I'm heading to Arkansas. I'm sorry, I missed it." And I've been offered by Mr. G to come out, and I told him I'd definitely come out next year because that's probably about 5 hours from me where he's at, so that's not terrible. No. The other ride I did this year was before Sturgis. It was May 30th, I think it was a Saturday. I rode out to South Dakota, and I did 1,034 miles in 16.5 hours.
Wow.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I left at around 3 a.m. in the morning. A buddy of mine, and yeah, we just booked it out there. And what happened on that trip? Nothing happened to me, but he lost a bunch of stuff.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, he had like a tent, a sleeping bag, and all this stuff because we were eventually going to make it out to Spearfish, which we did. And all along the way, we stopped at a gas station. I was like, "Hey, man, where's all your stuff?" He's like, "Oh my God!" He's like,
"Oh no!"
Yeah. So the goal was to make it to Oklahoma, South Dakota, which is right across the Missouri River there. We got a cabin there, and then get up the next day and ride on to Spearfish, and then ride out there. We camped out there, and something I like to do is I like to incorporate different things into riding. Like I like to fish. So I was out there, I was fishing, fly fishing. And I did that when I was in Arkansas. I actually spent a day, and before I got out there, I was like, you know what? I love the Buffalo River. It's absolutely gorgeous. I was like, I'm going to call one of those places out there and see if I can't rent a kayak. And I did that. I spent 5 hours on the Buffalo River out in Arkansas, and it was a beautiful day. It's absolutely gorgeous out there. If you like that kind of stuff, I highly recommend it. I mean, it's not a big deal to do it on a motorcycle. I mean, some places were not shuttling people to where they need to go because everything's going on, and they didn't want to do that. But I had to find a place that would, you know, I'd wear a mask and they'd send me out to wherever they'd do a drop off. But yeah, that was a great experience.
Cool. Sounds awesome, man. That sounds super awesome.
I've never done kayaking. I'm always afraid I'll fall over and drown myself.
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I mean, I would love to do a trip where I could do some camping as well. But, you know, we're spoiled in this part of the world because everywhere we go, even the rest of us have hotels. Everywhere there's hotels, so no real reason to. And in order for you to get some camping spots or potential camping spots, they're really not really roads on them anyway, right? So it's going to be tough for Harley on those. So chances are we always go for. I would love to, though. I mean, to me, on my bucket list, because we were talking about bucket list earlier, is to go out to the United States and do something like that. It was supposed to be on my bucket list to do it this year, but you know, as you know what's happening, so that can't happen. Part of the other thing was that I was supposed to meet another motor vlogger. I don't know if you know him, the Harley Road Show. We were meant to go.
Yeah.
So he and I were supposed to meet up. So he's in Australia, so he's not far away from where I am.
Right.
And then we fly into Thailand, and I'll ride up to Thailand, and then we'll go riding in Thailand together. But again, all borders are closed, and the sea thing that's going on. So that's how. So that's going to be all 2021, I think, on the bucket. But I'd love to do that. I think to be able to go to the United States and actually experience camping. Right. But of course, I'll probably get a glide and not my Dyna. I'll need more saddlebag space, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you don't want to tent camp, you can always. A lot of places have cabins now, which is, to me, I love it. Like I stayed there in South Dakota on a cabin right on the river, so I would walk out the front door and be like, "Boom! Here's this massive river." And it was gorgeous. But you can do stuff like that. And another thing is, like, you can find a lot of campsites that are dedicated to motorcyclists.
Right.
I've done that before too, where this guy had 7 cabins, and then he had you could tent camp too. Even if you didn't have a tent, he'd be like, "Oh, you can just borrow mine." He would give people tents to sleep in if they didn't have one, or if they were just coming off the road, maybe they couldn't find a hotel room, and he'd be like, "Okay, we have spare tents. You just use this." So
that's awesome. That's actually a really good marketing idea. I mean,
it is.
Yeah, always vacancy. We got tents. We'll hook you up.
Yeah.
So what's been your so you say you do a couple of these long distance trips every year. What was your all time favorite trip that you've been on?
I did like the 1,000 miles in 24 hours, but I don't know. I love South Dakota, but I really like being in the mountains, and I still think today, until something changes, is doing the Blue Ridge Mountains. I did the whole thing in 2 days, and I just like being up in the mountains. There's something about it. I guess it's just peaceful and calming, and it's just connecting from life. And
I'm not sure if you heard Road Rash on earlier. That's where he likes to go, is just escape to the mountains. And
it is. It's I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like you're combining 2 things that kind of relax you and rejuvenate you. 1, riding a motorcycle, and 2, going to the mountains. Yeah. So it's a double bonus, you know.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And I think the good thing about going up in the mountains as well is that you get no cell reception. I think that's the because we're so tempted to like get a gas station and whip out the phone and doing all the bullshit. the moment you whip out the phone and there's absolutely no reception, you're just gonna put it back in your pocket and then enjoy the ride. Otherwise, shit, people calling you and bullshit.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the really fun part. Anyway, you're supposed to enjoy the ride and then switch off, right? And I think we're all guilty of once in a while. And worse, if you're connected to your phone while you're listening to your tunes, right? And then invariably somebody calls you, and then you get to pick up the phone with your communicator. I try to stop doing that, but sometimes it's just you're so used to it, especially at work, right? You got to pick up the phone. So you hear the ring and you just pick it up.
Someone had called me. I was able to answer it through the center, but I couldn't figure out how to disconnect it, and they didn't disconnect on their side of the call either. So for the next 35 minutes until I actually pulled my phone out, the conversation's still going, just no one was listening to it. So but it killed my music. My music went away when they called. I'm like, oh. So I kept hitting the button. What I should have just done is just turn off the whole damn thing and turned it back on. But hindsight 2020, didn't think about that. So
not to mention, sometimes depending on where you put it, it's difficult to get to it to switch it off anywhere, right? Mine's a modular helmet, so it's definitely going to be further back, right? So trying to get to this bullshit to switch it off is tough. While you're riding a bike, at about 90 or 80 miles an hour, that's not easy.
No.
Yeah.
So you guys have a bucket list, like of a destination you really want to do?
Yeah. Actually, on Monday. Yeah, Monday. I actually have my U.S. bucket list coming out as like a actual one, and definitely like Tail of the Dragon-y type area, which that was one of the overrated ones. I had actually a little bit further down on my list because it was kind of a cliche thing. But I guess almost like a lot of the bucket lists I have are kind of generic. Needles Highway, for example, up in South Dakota.
Yeah,
it's just there's. I've seen the pictures and I want to experience it for myself. So even though everyone else has already been there, I still kind of want to go, type of thing.
Sure. For sure.
Couple of I've never ridden the Colorado Rockies. I think you're saying with mountains, I think that would be. I would love to ride Pikes Peak, but I don't know how the Dyna would handle the elevation change going from 5,000 to 14,000 feet. But it also kind of freaks me out when I see the pictures of literally no guardrails or anything. It's just you in the side of the mountain. So
Yep. That's kind of like the Tail of the Dragon. There's no guardrails,
right?
You're just going inside, and you were talking about no cell phone service. There's not, and if you got hurt, it would take 45 minutes to an hour for somebody to come and get you.
Yeah.
I forgot what show we had, but was it?
Was it Mike? No,
it wasn't Mike. But one of our guests at one point in time, he actually did go down. And it was literally 45 minutes until a passerby happened to stop by and help him out because no cell phone coverage. He hurt himself. He can't walk, so, he's lucky. He was fortunate that someone finally came along. But if you get too far lost, it's you're flirting with a little
downside.
Yeah. I can't think of who it was now.
Oh, it's the guy on a Gull Wing, Rich, right? I forget his channel. His name is Rich, and he rides a Gull Wing, and he had an injury, and it involved his spine actually. And then
I think they were they from Tennessee area too?
Is that Moto Ramblings? Is that him?
It's not Moto Ramblings. No, I don't think it's Moto Ramblings, but I don't think we've had him on yet.
No, I'll take that back. He's in North Carolina.
Yeah, it's Moto.
Hold on. I won't be able to sleep tonight, so conversate, and I'll see if I can find out who it was again.
I know him, but his name is Rich, that's for sure. What his actual channel was, but he was on a go. He wasn't on a go wing then, but he's on a go wing now. He literally, because of his spinal injuries, it took him about 10 years to get back riding again, and he's back to riding. So I think it's motor.
Wasn't Bluegrass Riders, was it?
No, it's not.
Not them.
I'm sure.
It was one of our first live shows.
Yeah, that we actually talked about it.
I've probably subbed him. I'm trying to figure, because there's Motor Ramblings. He has a Go Wing, and then there's another guy. I can't think of his name. It's probably him. I cannot think.
Or was it Chase the Ride that went down?
No, yeah, Chase as well. Chase for sure.
Yeah, but I know there was another conversation. I know we won't waste time with it tonight, I guess. But
I'm trying to remember.
It's gonna drive me nuts until I figure out who it was, though.
Chase for sure. He went down, but it wasn't something major. But he still was a little injured, and I think he waited about 45 minutes. But there's Rich is the other guy that had a spinal injury and literally had to lay at the side of the road for a long time before anybody came by. I'm sure I'll remember what it was, but he was on a Go Wing. Yeah. He rides a Go Wing now. So, yeah. But if you're talking about bucket list for me, it's going to the United States, right? I've been to the United States. I've gone there for work and stuff, but I've never really ridden in the United States. And for me, of course, to do Sturgis, which was right, for sure.
Yeah.
And doing the ride in the Big Sur. That's a beautiful country.
Pacific Coast Highway. Yep.
That's a beautiful country. I would love to be able to go there and see the Pacific Coast and going through the mountains and going off to the sides and seeing the beaches and stuff. That's beautiful.
Boots, Jeans, and Riders. Hit them up if you're ever doing the Big Sur. So.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
That's their neck of the woods. So.
Yeah, that's true. I saw they were like traveling through Missouri, through South Dakota. I was watching some of their videos. I think they recently went to Colorado.
They were in Colorado.
They were in Nevada as well, because I think they met up with JP, right?
They met up with the Home Bees. I know that.
They met up with Home Bees. They've. I think I saw a post today from them where they were in Missouri again, and I'm trying to figure out if they're going to be coming through Kansas City or not tomorrow. So
they messaged me. I'd put out a video where I crossed the Pill Ferry, one of the routes, and they saw the brochure that I talked about in my description. And they're like, "Oh, we're in Branson, Missouri." I'm like, "Oh, that's on the route." I was like, "Just go south." They're like, "We're gonna do it." I'm like, "All right, cool." So
nice.
Yeah. But going back to the bucket list, I've been wanting to take like 2 weeks off and ride through South Dakota, ride to Yellowstone, then go north to Montana, hit Glacier, and then cross over into Canada. That's my bucket list.
Wow, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that would definitely take a full 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more. But I mean, I'd spend like a day or two at some of the places. But yeah, that's kind of been, because once you make it to like say Spearfish, like I did this year, it's like you can get to Yellowstone in a day from there. And then if I went north from Yellowstone, you're talking about 6 hours to get to Glacier. And to get to Canada, it's nothing. It's probably less than 2 hours.
Yeah, that's awesome, right? To be able to be to do from one end to another and then go across to Canada and then see their mountains, right? Because the Road Rash was on earlier and he was talking about some really nice mountains in Alberta. And I'm sure they have some in Calgary, but Calgary is pretty cold, I think.
Right.
I don't remember any in Toronto, but I'm sure if you go further up, Nova Scotia and so forth, right, you probably get really great roads and great mountains as well. That's also on my bucket list. I mean, to me, I got family there in Canada, so it would be nice to just visit them. They're in Calgary, and probably then hook up with Road Rash and Scouts, or the military biker it's called now.
Yeah, military biker.
Right.
Yeah.
Hook up with these two guys and then do a nice road trip.
And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, there's a road that I discovered this year in between Montana and Wyoming, which is the Beartooth Highway.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
I think I have.
If you can look it up, the road is unbelievable. Like, it blew me away when somebody did a YouTube video. Oh, actually, you know what? Adam Sandoval did a YouTube video of it.
Right.
It looks amazing. So I added that to that bucket list. So definitely got to do that. I can't remember how long it is, but it looked amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good thing about having meeting all these people, right? And to be able to see the videos that they have put up,
right?
And now you see all the possibilities. They've been there, they put it up. Okay, so this is on your bucket list, and this is on your bucket list. And here we're just talking about riding in the United States to Canada. Right? In my case, I'm in Asia, so I've already covered most of Asia that's capable of riding on a Harley anyway. Because the further north you get up to Vietnam or Laos or what have you, they're not roads anymore. So you have an adventure bike already. No matter what, no cruiser can handle that kind of bike because they're not roads anymore. So you need something that can handle both roads and off road, and is almost considered off road. So I'm kind of stuck. I can't get any further unless I change a bike, right? Or rent out a bike. I might do that because I know friends of mine that we ride up to maybe Bangkok, right? And there's a place that we can keep our bikes and then rent out some BMWs, the GSs, and then go into Vietnam and the rest. Then we're okay. And that's a little bit part of my bucket list as well. I might do that, but that's easier to attain because that's it's pretty nearby anyway for me, near 1,000 miles, right? near right. But to me, it's great to be able to go off to another country and see something different, right? I love to go and meet the Kiwi, the two Kiwi riders, and do New Zealand, right? And then go up to Australia. But I've done Australia before. In the 90s, I literally went out to Sydney, rented a Harley with a good friend of mine because we had some kind of strange bet which we both lost. So we decided to do something strange. And what we did was we rode across Australia, literally end to end, across this huge highway. It took us about 3 days to get across that part of Australia, at least the northern part of Australia, or southern part of Australia. Anyway, so I've been to Australia, I've done that. I'd love to do a ride in New Zealand. That's part of the bucket list, right? And then, of course, United States as well. So I think it'll be interesting.
That's where Zedhead is, right? New Zealand?
In New Zealand? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
he can show you around. Yeah, he's got some beautiful rides.
No, I mean, there's some real beautiful country there. And talking about mountains and just getting away, right? I think New Zealand is a perfect place because it's just wide open country.
I would love to go ride Ireland some point in time.
Oh yeah.
Just all the greenery, and then you got all the distilleries. It'd just be it'd be dangerous. I might not ever come back either. So
I think it's much better now. It's not like the early 80s when you still have the IRA and everything else.
Yeah, I'm not even worried about. I'm talking about I could live there. Like that's if I could pick up and move, that would be one of those places. So, but
I think you guys need to think about in your bucket list going to Europe, right? Because literally. For every 2 hours that you ride, you're suddenly switching languages, which is so strange for me. Right? It's like I studied in Switzerland for hotels, and I was there for about 4 years. And anytime I had some time off, I bought myself an old BMW, and I would ride whenever I can. So where I was in Switzerland, I was 2 hours away from Paris, 2 hours away from Frankfurt, 2 hours away from Milan. right?
That's
So
crazy,
I literally
right?
could hit all these places because I'm right in smack in the middle, and then I have this beautiful highway called the Autobahn that I could just get there with zero traffic. In fact, it was I almost got a ticket on the Autobahn for riding too slowly. Yeah, here's the thing, because they had signs that said 120. Right, this is kilometers an hour, mind you, not miles an hour. It's 120 kilometers an hour. So I thought that's a speed limit. No,
That's the speed minimum.
that's the speed minimum, right? So I was doing like 110. I wasn't too sure about where I was anyway, and those days there are no GPS, so it's all maps. So I had to make sure I was on the right highway and knew my exits and everything else. So I did 110. This cop pulls me over and said, "Look, what the hell are you doing?" I'm riding. Sorry, I'm doing 110. So I wasn't doing anything wrong. He said, "No, that's just speed minimum. Get your ass up to 120 and more, or get off this highway."
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, shit. And then you push it to about 100 miles an hour. That's awesome. But
Then the same cop pulls you over, like, well, there is a maximum.
No, there isn't.
There
isn't. It's 3 lanes. If you ever had a chance to go on the Autobahn, it's literally 3 wide lanes on the highway. And of course, the outermost lane is always the fastest, right? And you have these Ferraris going at 250, 300 past you. All you see is a little red in your mirror. Like in seconds, you see, the guy's gone, right? And so it's normal, 200, 300, that's fine, right? Because it's long.
Good place to be on a motorbike, huh?
Exactly. It was beautiful. No, it's beautiful. I was like tearing down that highway, not caring about anything, It was awesome. Then that's why it takes 2 hours to get to Paris, because you're tearing down the highway at 100 miles an hour or more, right? So that's why you get there fast.
I think out in Wyoming, they used to have some non-regulated highways. I think they made them 85 miles per hour now, but for a while they kind of just said, drive, we don't care. But I think they've unfortunately since changed those back down. But still, 85 is still pretty booking it. So
yeah, most of I think it's I-90 in South Dakota is 80.
It's a good speed.
There's nobody out there.
Right.
It's like you go and see like nothing forever, and it's not necessarily flat, but because a lot of areas are not. But yeah,
they made it 80 as a favor, so you don't have to look at the boringness anymore. Just get out.
Yeah, some locals are like, you can go way past that, nobody's gonna stop you. Which I believe it. I never saw a cop. You don't see them until you actually get in like, I don't know, Rapid City or places like that, and then you'll start seeing cops. But when you're out there in that stretch and you're trying to make it that area, you don't see anybody. You don't see nothing. It's actually beautiful, actually.
And then you speed it up, and then all of a sudden that one cop who was just happened to be going the other way spots you and ruins your trip.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's always about the ride and the destination. We don't have to be doing high speeds anyway, And at my age, I'm not going to be doing that anymore, anyway. So I just want to ride, just enjoy the ride, and not care too much, because that's one of the things that gets to me. I think even though I say one of the topics we talk about, the struggles that we face, I think one of the things that I face in terms of struggle, so to speak, right? I think it's a first world problem, is being with people who don't understand the thing about riding. They just want to get to their destination as fast as possible and not enjoy the ride.
Right.
And they're always on you for taking breaks, and breaks are important not just for the bike, but for you.
Right.
You gotta eat. If you need to drink a lot of water if it's really hot in summer, right?
Yeah.
But these people don't get it. They said, look, come on, we need to get to where we want to go straight away and have some fun there. But hey, you got to take care of yourself first, right?
Right. I think there's a spot for all of it. I mean, I think if you do have a destination that is, a distance away, and that's where you're going to have most of your fun, then that's one thing to try and just get there. But for me, like we were talking earlier about the Western trip that I went on, we took completely just like side road, country roads, just so we can enjoy. I mean, we're not afraid of the highway, but it was nice to travel at 55, 60 miles per hour on a 2-lane back road. And that's where we find our joy. And then, still, those towns are spaced maybe 15 miles apart. There's always a place to stop for them. So it's really a perfect setup for us. And, Kansas is just country road and then interstate. So there's not much in between, but that's how we prefer. But there's been a couple times where I've been tired. Well, not necessarily tired, but I wanted to get home. Like, I think maybe that's it. The return trip home, I'm usually more in a hurry to get back home. I don't enjoy the return trip as much for some reason. Like I'll take straight highway on the way back home, but going out there, I like to relax on the way out. But,
yeah, I think I understand where that's coming from. I mean, to me is coming back. Sometimes we tend to try and push ourselves to get back home fast as possible. I think from experience, I would never push myself. I always plan it all out. Take enough leave that you need to do that trip,
right,
and take your time because you need to get back safely anyway, right? I've known. I mean, from experience, I've had a friend. He got off the graveyard shift. We told him, look, have a day off. Come and join us later on, and you know where that destination is. Then no, I'm fine, I'm good. And then the next thing we know is that we told him, okay, fine, take your time. We're gonna be at this stop for maybe 2 hours just for you, right? We'll wait there for you. 2 hours goes by, 3 hours goes by, then we get a phone call. He's dead, right? He crashes into a truck because he fell asleep or something on his bike.
Wow.
So I've lost friends because of that, right? So I tell myself that at the end of the day, if you need to go on a ride, make sure you're well rested. Don't push yourself if you can't. And for God's sake, don't do something crazy. You're supposed to enjoy the ride. Don't push yourself to a point where you have zero sleep and you're gonna do a 300-mile run. That's crazy,
right?
Or 1,000.
Or 1,000. Or 1,000.
Yeah. I highly recommend doing that like one time at least, just so you could not only just say you can do it, so it's just the experience. And out.
I mean, heck, if you're able to do 1,000 in 24 hours, it's like I can do anything. I mean, distance related. I mean, that's like it is doing 24 and 1,000 or 1,000 and 24. I would probably do 24 miles in 1,000 hours personally, but
right. So that's the iron butt, right? 1,000 miles in.
That's one of them. I did mine through 1K in a day.
Right.
And so that you can choose either one. There might be another association that does it, but I did the 1K in a day. And I don't know. It seems to be easier now. You don't, at least with them, you don't have to have somebody sign something like to witness you. Now it's just so simple as to hold up the receipt next to the speedometer and take a picture, and take pictures along the way. They want you to have pictures of where you went, how the ride was, and so forth. And
see, that makes it more memorable too. I mean,
it does. And the best part about it is they're on Instagram. I don't know if that Iron Butt Association is on Instagram, but what they encourage you to do is like, add a story to your Instagram of like, okay, I'm here. This is how many.
Yeah.
And then I add them ride 1K in a day, and then whoever I'm riding with to that story, and they always respond. There's always somebody responding, which is really cool. They're very involved in it. So that's one of the big reasons why I did 1K in a day instead of the Iron Butt.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I did the Iron Butt Society or whatever they're called. They also have the smaller ones, right? The saddle saw, which is what I did, which is to do 100 miles in a day or within 24 hours. And I didn't know about the other side, because when I looked at the rules and everything else, and when we were discussing with friends, you're right. We had to get our receipts from the petrol station. We also had to make sure that we took a picture of the guy that's signing the thing, and then of course take a picture of the thing against his speedometer with the odometer, right? How much you done, and record it down as well. So it's a lot of pain, and you need to do another 600 miles, right? God damn it! You just done 200. And you stop. You're gonna do all of that, and then still do gas and have a meal, and then continue. It was tough. I mean, we did 800 miles in about. I was just telling Brett earlier. It was about 18 hours in total. We had to literally stop. There was 5 of us, so we had to make sure everybody got their shit done. Otherwise, then we submitted to get the cert, right? The certification. The certification. So that took a longer time than it should. Right?
Yeah, when you have a bigger group, I just did it with another person, so it was much easier. You know, we were just, it was somebody I've known for a long time, and we're just, we're used to riding with each other, and you didn't have to worry about as many people, and plus, obviously, I didn't have somebody to witness, the odometer, me getting the gas, what time it was, and blah blah blah, and which made it a lot faster. So I know there's one guy that I think he's done it 8 times, and I think he's done it solo.
Jeez,
all 8 times, and I'm like, that's crazy.
That's nuts. I mean, to me, it started off with just 2 of us, right? But with social media, you put it on Facebook, say, okay, I'm gonna do this with this guy. And then somebody else joins in, and then before you know it, there's 5 of us, right? You can't say no to these guys, right? They want to come along, but okay, they're good friends. But it's just that because of the paperwork and the way that they insisted how it's done, that's why it's so long over 5 people. It was fun though. We'll do it again. Because it took a lot out of us. I mean, because we're not riding for the sake of riding anymore. We're riding because of that challenge, and then we make sure that we have to follow rules. It's tough, man.
How did you start it? Did you start like in the morning daylight, or did you start like in the middle of the night? Like I started around 3 a.m. in the morning because I'd rather have woke up at that time, got past the dark into the daylight versus the reverse. So I wanted to get to my destination and it still be daylight, not nighttime. Because for me, when I get up in the morning and as soon as the sun sets, I start getting tired. I'd rather start with the dark, it being in the dark, riding in the dark, because I'm up, I've had my coffee, I'm ready to go. But the opposite way I would just get too tired too soon.
I agree with you, and that's exactly what we did. We started at 4 a.m. in the morning, and it's a good thing to be in the morning anyway. It's nice and cool, right?
Yeah, exactly. Keep you awake.
Right, and we're in the tropics. It's hot all the time, and we did it in the hottest part of the month, which is really stupid. We should have waited this time or something. So because we didn't want to go through the rain and add some more stuff to the travel, so we started at about 4 a.m. And you're right. We finished everything just about sunset,
right?
And then we could just take it easy after that.
Right.
So exactly. Daytime, we can see stuff. Especially if you're getting tired, you really need to have full visibility. It's just, if you're really tired and you're riding at night, I think that's crazy.
Yeah. I will avoid that if I can. I'd rather just start as early as possible. Like when I went on this Arkansas trip, I left around 6 a.m., which I didn't really need to do that, but I just wanted to get there, and because I was tent camping, so I wanted to get there. I didn't want to be setting up my tent at night, right? So, and I just wanted to get there, set up a tent, get everything situated, go have some dinner. And by the time I did that, maybe ride a little bit, come back, it would start getting dark. And that's just kind of how I like to do things. I did do a ride one time where a friend of mine could not leave until later. And by the time we got our destination, I'm putting up a tent in the middle of the night.
Oh,
and
that sucks.
I looked at him and I'm like, I am never doing this again. You're crazy.
You can't see anything, right?
I'm probably gonna step on a snake or something. My luck. I'm like, oh my god.
But I know what it is.
I
think
it is for you.
Yeah, that's why I always believe that whenever I'm going for any kind of ride, I would make sure that I will do it within daylight. We reach our destination well before sunset, because anything that goes wrong in between that, things happen. Murphy's Law, shit breaks down. You get a flat tire, and whatever. And if it takes more than 2 hours to fix, then you're going to be in trouble if you just planning to just hit sunset. Right, so it's a good idea to get off, and I always do. If I know if I'm going to do a 600 or 700 mile day, I will leave at about 4 or 5 a.m. So that I have enough daylight for anything that goes wrong between.
Right,
and exactly. still get to my destination with sunlight.
Yeah, and not just daylight. I mean, just the fact that if something does go wrong, that's when the shops are open to fix your shit. So,
that's true.
Exactly.
I don't know how to mount a tire on the side of the road, so hopefully I never have to do that one. But Itchy Boots knows how to. I don't, but Itchy Boots does.
But I mean, in this day and age, unless you're a tube tire, they have the tire repair kits and everything else. In fact, I always run with a tire repair kit.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't. And a compressor, exactly. But it's not one of those little compressor canisters, right? I literally have an electric compressor that I can hook up to my battery and then pump.
That's how mine is.
Right? And that's the best one.
Yeah.
That way you can make sure that you have the right PSI.
Yeah. I'd rather use that than those little CO2 cartridges that come with some of the kits. I don't like those.
No. And you're done if it's one. So if you're in a group of 4 or 5, and sometimes shit happens, right? So you have a flat, you fix yours. Then somebody else has a flat, you're done. Because your CO2
you hope you don't get another flat.
Oh, I don't get another flat, exactly right. But you never know. Shit happens, right? Nail crap on the floor. So at least with the compressor, you know that you'll be able to get everybody up and running, jumper cables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. And to be able to, the basic stuff, right? At least you know that you're good to go. I unfortunately have a tube tire, so I'm fucked. I'm planning to change. Yeah, mine's a street bob, so I love the spokes, but I think I'm going to change the thing out to tubeless, and that way I won't have a problem if I have a flat or something, because it's going to hard to get a tube. I would travel sometimes with a spare tube, but like Brett said, trying to change a tire off to the side of the road on the highway is not the best thing to do.
No.
Right, daylight or otherwise, because there's still be some idiot's gonna mow you down.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I don't think I would do it if I could get away with, fixing it long enough to get to a local dealership, and then typically there's like a hotel near a dealership somewhere. And I would just be like, I'd just call a cab or Uber or something. Or if it's in walking distance, just do that and just wait till the next day and be like, hey, that's my bike. I'm out of town. Can you fix it? Can you put me at the top of the list? So
yeah, that's true.
We'll get to it when we three. Oh, your specific tire's out of stock. It'll be about 3 days.
Yeah,
that's true.
My luck.
Yeah,
but knock on wood, I've never had a flat tire. I've always thought about that. Like, man, something's gonna happen to my tire. It always freaks me out, but I've been lucky, and I thought something like that would happen when I did the 1,000 miles.
Right.
I thought something was going to happen. Something did happen. It just didn't happen to me. It just happened to my buddy. I feel bad for him, but
I guess we have angels on our shoulders, because to me is when we're doing a challenge, nothing like that happens. But we were just on a nice ride with friends. Shit always happens.
Yeah.
I've had people lose their exhaust. It just kept popping out, flat tires and everything else. and stuff like that. But yeah, right. I think it's somehow or other when you're doing something new for the first time, nothing happens, which is great. Knock on wood.
Right.
But we always have to prepare for the worst anyway. Yeah,
Yes.
man. Anyway, Sinister, I think it's we're gonna have to call it for the stream.
It's been over 2 hours, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's
I jumped a little.
2 hours 30 minutes already, and I think it's pretty long. And I know Daddy needs to check on the kids and stuff.
Oh yeah,
like Brett.
I just need to go to sleep.
It's like on 2 hours of sleep every day now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I can imagine with the kids and everything else. But listen, thanks for coming.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, really appreciate joining us. Yeah, and for those that are still in the side chat, thank you very much for joining us. We're on the same time, different place next week on Chopper Fett's channel. So join us then tomorrow. I'm Fletch.
I'm Brett, Chopper Fett, and we will see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, thanks, guys.
Good night.
Good night.